There's an abundance of ways you can link exploration and video games together. You can explore the feeling a game gives you, why or how a game was made. You could use a guide and work towards that sweet 100% and experience everything you possibly can. So this is a new series where I take a video game and explore it in depth. Thinking about this since the start of my channel, my thoughts have gravitated towards Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts, originally released on the PS2 throughout 2002, is one of those games that has a solidified place in the video game filing cabinet of my brain. I personally do not have the experience of playing it upon release, but instead I found it in the depths of YouTube in the form of AMVs, Let's Plays and clips when I was in my teens. The whole concept and style of the game really drew me in, and everything I digested felt very magical and whimsical. This spellbinding combination of Square and Disney, a game which idea spawned from a singular elevator ride. Apparently, putting folks from Disney and Square into an elevator together equals a collaborative project. With all that said, let's explore the world of Kingdom Hearts together. Grabbing my trusty video game guide from Brady Games, I decide that loading up the game is a prime place to begin. The main menu is extremely iconic, drawn by Tetsuya Nomura, a significant director and artist under Square, now Square Enix, who jumped aboard working on Kingdom Hearts fresh after Final Fantasy VIII. There's also an art book for the game and some character report books that were released in Japan, which provide extra information on the characters. Yoko Shimomura composed the music for the game, including this piece, Dearly Beloved, and I'm not surprised to read that many players would leave this on for a while before pressing any buttons. The whole tone is extremely calming. I select New Game because I just started, and I pick Normal difficulty because I didn't really fancy making this any harder for myself. I'm playing the original PS2 version, but the game did have an updated release called Final Mix, later also part of a HD remastered collection. I actually got these trophies back in 2019, and the one for never changing equipment is rough, I tell you. The game opens with a voice informing us that they are confused.
I've been having these weird thoughts lately.
The amazing opening song by Utada Hikaru follows, called Simple and Clean, Planet B remix version. Utada was able to provide both a distinctive sound and also, English and Japanese versions. The song was a huge success. The opening scene is one of my favourites. It leaves you thinking, wow, what does it all mean? And to be honest, that's the theme throughout the whole series. Turns out the voice is from a boy named Sora, our protagonist. Sora meaning sky in Japanese. He is voiced by Haley Joel Osment here.
What are you talking about?
And Miyu Irino in the Japanese version. The opening closes with an explosive array of doves to reveal this beautiful stained glass on top of a tower. It's a portrait of Snow White from Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Despite this being the first sign of Disney, Snow White herself does not have a lot of screen time. Snow White is the first Disney character we see, possibly because she's the very first Disney princess from back in 1937. However, the story of Snow White is originally a German fairy tale, and there are a bunch of fairly average rated adaptations. Currently there's also the Snow White film to be released in 2025, and it has bad reception already. To make up for it, we have this amazing PS2 game. Clearly it's a classic because of these prices. Jumping into gameplay, I remember this moment eliciting a really eerie, creepy and unexpected feeling. It just spooked me. Listen to this music. And then there's the floating text, so much to do, so little time. More like time for an existential crisis. We stretch our legs and practice using our knees to jump, and then pick either sword, shield or staff. I never pick shield. I'm bad at blocking in most, if not all, games. Also, sometimes I'm bad at jumping. Picking staff and sacrificing sword gives you all around decent stats, so I go with that because I want to give myself the best chance of looking good. We end up falling again and landing on Cinderella. Doesn't she have blonde hair? Is it just the lighting or a design choice? Will we ever know? Disney's Cinderella was released in 1950, and this was actually the biggest hit since Snow White because there had been a lot of commercial failures since World War II. There are a handful of adaptations, including a Cinderella story from 2004 and one from 2015. I am ecstatic over the fact that I get to wield a blue Mickey Mouse head on the end of a stick, and we eagerly learn how to fight. These are called Heartless. This is still tutorial territory, but I admit I got nibbled on a bit. We get taught how to stare at a locked door, open a chest, and push a box. A rather productive day. Through this door, some Final Fantasy characters greet us. We have Wakka, Tidus, and Selphie. For now, the three of them ask questions, and this essentially determines the pace at which you level. I never really knew what these options meant before, so it was cool to finally find out. I picked being number 1 as an answer for what's most important to me, and I want to reinstate right now that yes, that is definitely the case. Forget friendship, I want to be at the top of this metaphorical ladder. And I picked seeing rare sights. Maybe a rare sight is me succeeding at the game, who knows. Finally, in response to this question, yes, getting old is terrifying, leave me alone. Back to the stained glass pillars, we now stand on Aurora from Sleeping Beauty. Sleeping beautifully. Imagine if this was something like the Barbie version. To no surprise, Sleeping Beauty is also based on a fairy tale, and also alongside Snow White and Cinderella, they have all been popularised by the Brothers Grimm. The villain from Sleeping Beauty plays a prominent part in the story, so stay tuned. We run up these fragile looking stairs. They're gorgeous, but I probably shouldn't be stomping up them like this. And who is it at the top of these stairs? It's none other than Belle from Beauty and the Beast, which we'll also get to later on. Unfortunately, we are rudely greeted by this enormous, looming creature called the Dark Side. This is an easy fight, and dying doesn't really matter. However, since my guide said you can get extra tech points by specifically attacking the head, I took that as a challenge. The guide said I could do it, so I was going to do it. And I did it! With a stab of the staff to the head and XP joyfully in hand, we wake up on Destiny Islands. Essentially, this first part was all just a dream, or a nightmare, technically. We are then jump scared by Kairi, one of Sora's best friends.
Whoa!
Riku, a self-confident youth, is their other best friend. This is also where the Kingdom Hearts manga adaptation begins by Shiro Amano. I like it, I think the style is really fun. Destiny Islands is a dazzling island, and in this moment Sora, Riku and Kairi are planning on building a raft so they can set sail and discover other worlds and places beyond their home. Spending the first part of the game here feels like a breath of fresh air. The sky in the background is lovely and blue, a stark contrast to the start of the game, and there is the swinging of palm trees and fish splashing in the crystal clear water. We also see the return of Wakka, Selphie and Tidus, so I run straight under this waterfall. Perhaps I wanted to wash off the icky darkness nightmare-ish feeling. After, I stroll up to Wakka, who asks if we are up for a round. A round of what? Cards? Drinks? Wakka is from Final Fantasy X, a PS2 game from 2001 developed by Square, one of the first in its series to fully use 3D. It's also got summery, beachy locations similar to that of Destiny Islands, and Wakka is introduced as captain of a sport called Blitzball, which I remember having great difficulty playing, to be honest. Turns out he wants to battle one-on-one, and my fight against him goes pretty well. I parried at each chance I got, and in no time at all he was sobbing into the sand. The second battle I did was against Selphie, a girl from Final Fantasy VIII. This was released only 2 years prior to Final Fantasy X, with Final Fantasy IX in between, and the graphical difference is insane in the way that it shows the fast-paced growth of the industry. The weapon of choice, the jump rope, was a little bit harder to dodge, but I enjoyed the challenge. In the end I win, and her tears also get absorbed by the sand.
I can't believe I lost!
Next we battle Tidus, who is very aggressive with his wooden sword, plus he can also backflip. With my determination, strength, strong wit and skill, I defeat him too. Tidus is the main protagonist from Final Fantasy X and a rising Blitzball star. Tidus is also in other Final Fantasy games such as Dissidia and World of Final Fantasy, and he also has great fashion sense. Before being director on Kingdom Hearts, Tetsuya Nomura predominantly worked as a character designer and designed some Final Fantasy characters. After these 3 intense battles, a real challenge begins. You can fight against all 3 at once, which I have personally never done before. This was definitely a struggle, but after a few tries I am triumphant, and they wallow in their collective sadness. I celebrate by running around and having a fun day in the sun. High on my achievements, I decide I now want to destroy Riku in battle 2. Apparently I have a thirst for violence. Regrettably, I've become a bit cocky, and it takes me a few tries to win. Now the score's 1-4, why are you so happy about that? You can actually continue fighting him here and get 99 potions. During all of this, Kairi has been standing and waiting patiently for help, so I gather up resources like this log, and after all of that hard work, we chill here together and chat in front of the sunset. I love how they're all planted here, admiring the view. It's a vibe that brings a lot of comfort with these warm tones. They are motivated to find Kyrie's original home, and deep thoughts are in the air about why they're here on this particular island.
Who knows?
On the way home, Riku teases Sora by bringing up the legend of the Paopu fruit, which intertwines destinies.
If two people share one, their destinies become intertwined.
Cut now to a castle, and oh look, a duck. It's Donald! Donald first quacked in the 1934 short The Wise Little Hen and has appeared in many shorts, series, video games, etc. since. Donald Duck's quack attack clearly being a noteworthy mention. I also read that Donald could have been the main protagonist along with Mickey. I feel like the game would have felt so different if either of them were the main protagonists in the end. In this cutscene we also see the enchanted brooms from the 1940 film Fantasia. Here's Pluto with an important letter in his mouth. Pluto is Mickey Mouse's trusty pet dog who made his appearance as Pluto in 1931, but he was seen a couple of times before this. Mickey Mouse himself being a highly popular and famous character first created in 1928, appearing in Steamboat Willie. He was created to replace Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, who appears in the game series Epic Mickey, which I have to mention because I love it. Also, can we appreciate the detail? There's hints to the mouse everywhere on the walls and even on the letter itself. I wish I could have these windows. Meanwhile, Goofy here is having a calming nap on top of flowers. Goofy appeared as a background character in the short Mickey's Revue and wouldn't actually be known as Goofy with Mickey and Donald until 1934 in Orphan's Benefit. Goofy also stars in the series Goof Troop and in the 2 movies that followed afterwards. Donald interrupts Goofy's quiet by showing off his spellcasting skills and proceeds to share the secret contents of the letter. Back on Destiny Islands, we must continue preparations. More importantly though, distractions. A race against Riku. He teases again by suggesting the winner shares the legendary Paopu fruit with Kyrie. I decide with all my might to win, so I followed the guidebook to ensure the best route. However, I still managed to fall and embarrass myself. I genuinely thought all hope was lost, but I sprinted like my life depended on it, and I won. There was no doubt in my mind. Now the score is 2-4. I also tried to name the raft Wafer, but it wasn't meant to be. Back on task, we have provisions for a decent picnic to collect. I didn't know you could collect water from this particular waterfall, and then absent-mindedly it takes me a few minutes to throw this box into the right spot so I can struggle to get this chest. I'm so tired by this point that I even tried to strike the chest with my sword first. For the fish, I obtained them by swimming around, which is highly impressive. In a different life, Sora was clearly a hunter and a fisherman. I have a brief chit-chat with Selphie, who also tells me about the Paopu fruit, which everyone is obsessed with, apparently. So I haven't mentioned this yet, but there is the secret place. There are some adorable cave drawings in here, including a chocobo. What do you mean this door is nothing really out of the ordinary? It's far from ordinary. Whilst Sora is wholesomely adding to a drawing of him and Kyrie from his childhood, a voice says that this world has been connected and is tied to darkness. Sora is obviously freaked and figures out that this figure is from another world. Go figure. After this ominous presence fades away, we head back to Kyrie to give her all of our findings. Once everything is done and dusted, we settle down in front of the sunset once again for another atmospheric discussion.
No matter where I go or what I see, I know I can always come back here.
Back to Donald and Goofy, we now see the contents of the letter and we find out that the writer was indeed Mickey Mouse, King Mickey in fact, the legend. I'm a big fan. They are told to go and find the someone with a key as disaster is on the horizon. Oh no. In addition, they need to find Leon since he can point them in the right direction. Here we get introduced to Minnie Mouse and Daisy Duck, who are more than happy to send them off. Minnie was first seen in Steamboat Willie and in very early concept art alongside Mickey as his girlfriend. Daisy Duck first appeared as Donna Duck in 1937 and as Daisy in Mr. Duck Steps Out in 1940. She is Minnie's best friend, which is very sweet and most likely why they have this recent show together called Bow Tunes. She is also Donald's girlfriend. It also turns out that Jiminy Cricket is here and he is going to assist on this journey. I really like Jiminy as a character. One of the reasons he's high on my list is because of this magical racing tour game on the PS1. I have fond memories playing this and seeing Jiminy float down on the main menu, and I just thought it was all really charming. Donald and Goofy need a ship for travelling, so it's off to Chip 'n Dale's Gummy Ship Workshop. They are a duo of chipmunks who first appeared in the 1943 short Private Pluto, and they also star in their own series, Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers. After preparations, I think Donald and Goofy may need rescuing themselves because they just fall down. take off. Either way, they're away and we'll see them again soon. During this very rare view of Sora's bedroom and the rarer sound of his mother's voice,
Sora?
Unfortunately, a storm starts brewing. Naturally, Sora leaps out the window. The dark blue tones are moody, but in a nice way, even though the weather and what's upcoming is not so nice. I scurry over to Riku, who is all out here on his lonesome, and he tells us all about the door. Riku proclaims the door has opened and that he's not afraid of the darkness. But before a full explanation, he gets swallowed up. Luckily, Sora acquires the Keyblade here. It also means that we can now get rid of these pesky Heartless, ruining our perfectly nice night on the beach. I clear out a bunch because I am an absolute menace. And it's time to go check out that secret room that's now even more suspicious than ever. I remember this particular shot being in a lot of emotional videos on YouTube back in the day. Our world is not in good shape at all as everything is being scattered. And to top it all off, the opposite of Mr. Brightside has returned. He is a big bully. I used the same techniques as earlier to attack his hands and head continuously until he is defeated and flies up and away. And Sora does the exact same, which lands us somewhere completely different. The previous event results in a star disappearing, which means that Destiny Islands has twinkled out. Donald and Goofy notice this upon their arrival in Traverse Town. They go in the opposite direction as Pluto quickly sniffs out Sora, who has landed here and is not in the best form, but his curiosity and no doubt stress and adrenaline gets him back up. We head straight down the stairs to the Moogle, because Moogles are adorable, and they appear in every Kingdom Hearts game. Funnily enough, they were not designed by Tetsuya Nomura. The first Moogle appeared in Final Fantasy III, with Mog in Final Fantasy VI being the first time where one was a playable character. We speak to this lady who says everyone's got an unhappy past, which that's pretty despairing. We find Sid in the accessories shop, who is from the 1997 game Final Fantasy VII, and of course we get to see him in the recent Final Fantasy VII remake too. Sid isn't super excited to see me, but I introduce myself nonetheless. He asks if we're lost and we blatantly lie and say maybe. He offers us some help if we get into trouble, and I steal the chest up here in thanks. Popping into the item shop next door, we meet Huey, Dewey and Louie, who are Donald's nephews. Funnily enough, Donald's Nephews was the first short they were in from 1938. Mainly from comics, they have also been in many Donald Duck shorts, plus DuckTales and its reboot. There's this chest that's on the roof because, of course it is, and in a turn of obvious events, there are Heartless everywhere. Down this way is a shop as well with the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland on it. I love the twinkling of stars up above. It really does give off this magical Twilight Town vibe that puts you at ease, minus all the Heartless. Under the night sky, I get lost trying to find the Gizmo shop. To be honest, when I first fully played through this game, I got lost a lot. I would like to say that I wouldn't get lost now because of my experience plus having the guide out in front of me, but you know, I got lost trying to find the alleyway as well. Donald and Goofy aren't far behind, still searching for this Leon. I take a brief but important trip to the 101 Dalmatians house. We have Pongo and Perdita looking for all their lost puppies. 99 of them in fact. Naturally, it is tasked to us to find them all. 101 Dalmatians is a film from 1961 adapted from Dodie Smith's novel of the same name. We have a couple live action remakes, one from 1996 and another with Emma Stone from 2021. The animation is very homey and there's just so many dogs, and all of them have made it to Kingdom Hearts, so it's nice to see them all. Or it would be, if they weren't all lost. I also get lost another time. Cut forward and at long last we bump into Leon. Now who is Leon? Leon is actually School Leonhardt from Final Fantasy VIII. The name Leon is an alias, and from what I read, apparently Nomura didn't want School written in Mickey's letter at the beginning in case that would cause his eventual reveal to not be as strong. They felt Leon had more of an element of surprise. He challenges us to battle because supposedly we all enjoy trying to beat each other up in these worlds. My guide here tells me that winning or losing doesn't really matter, but it does give us tips on how to win, so I saw that as a challenge. Let's try that again. He has a graceful floaty jump and this fireball thing, but he mainly just walks around menacingly. I dodged what I could, and he got me when I was on my last breath. Blast. He does actually give you a reward later on if you win, so with all my might I tried again. I do it. He proceeds to diminish my accomplishments by saying he went easy on me, but Sora does end up collapsing. We return to Goofy and Donald, who are suddenly jump scared by, reveal, it's Aerith from Final Fantasy VII. Aerith was first proposed to be AGRABAH from Parasite Eve here, which would have been a very interesting character to see in this series for sure. Aerith here is voiced by Mandy Moore, who is well known for voicing Rapunzel from Tangled, although she doesn't voice Rapunzel in Kingdom Hearts 3. As a side fun fact, you could dress as her in Little Big Planet 2. Fantastic. Since the Final Fantasy VII remake as well, there's a lot of appreciation for her, along with Tifa, who makes an appearance in Kingdom Hearts 2, and I'm a fan of Tifa. Back to Sora's perspective, we see Kairi? Oh no, wait, it's Yuffie. And you know it, she's also from Final Fantasy VII. She is the great ninja Yuffie after all. Apparently this was originally meant to be Riku, as in Riku from Final Fantasy Riku. But they didn't want to confuse Riku with Riku, so Yuffie it was. Leon now explains that Sora has a heart that can wield the Keyblade and is therefore the chosen one. The bad news is that this also means that the Heartless can track us down. Aerith is in the next room explaining to Donald and Goofy that the worlds only became connected when the Heartless arrived. Darkness is in everyone's hearts, and this is where the Heartless come from. ANSEM is also introduced, a dude who was studying the Heartless, and his reports would definitely be useful to us right now. What's more, the Keyblade can open and close all kinds of locks, which does make sense. It's still a key after all. When we try to leave, Heartless attack. We make it to District 3, and this is where our trio finally converge paths properly, but we have to fight before any formal introductions. This is Guard Armor. On normal difficulty, you can just constantly attack the hands and head, and defeating it is actually pretty easy. I would also like to make note of the Lady and the Tramp fountain in the background. A lot of people said that they missed this detail because of the blurriness of their PS2 and TV combo back in the day. Donald and Goofy explain that they were trying to locate Sora, and the pair very kindly invite him on board their ship, and we can all find the people we want to find. And the 99 Dalmatians. Now here's an iconic moment. Clearly some much needed humour during a catastrophic situation. But enough of that. It's creepy cutscene time. The villains are watching and dark discussions are underway, but they are still all in silhouette form, so I'll discuss them more later. But stuff is brewing. Before leaving Traverse Town, we get introduced to Trinity Marks, which are marks you can activate to access chests and secrets, and I'm aiming to get them all. There are also postcards in Traverse Town which you can mail in this post box for prizes. Jiminy Cricket keeps a journal, and there are plenty of entries to read throughout the game. I'll be reading out most of them, starting off with Chronicles. Sora's story. Sora, a boy born and raised on an island, dreamed of seeing the outside world. He and his friends Riku and Kairi began building a raft with which to sail away. One day, Sora ventured into the island's secret cave and met a stranger who had come from beyond the door. That night, disaster struck Sora's island. Riku and Kairi disappeared, and Sora was left with a mysterious weapon. With it, he defeated monsters that had suddenly appeared everywhere, spawned from an enormous sphere of darkness. But the darkness swallowed the island. Meanwhile, Disney Castle was in an uproar. King Mickey had vanished, leaving only a note behind. With this sole clue, Donald and Goofy set out to find him. Somehow, Sora ended up in a place called Traverse Town, where he met Leon, Aerith and Yuffie, and learned about the Heartless, beings of darkness, and the secret behind his weapon, the Keyblade. It is the key to unlocking some great power. Before long, Sora also met Donald and Goofy, who were looking for Leon, and joined forces with them. Sora. A spirited youth, he was cast into an unknown world when a swarm of Heartless raided his island. He battles the Heartless with a mysterious weapon called the Keyblade as he searches for his friend Kairi. Riku, Islander. A self-confident youth always competing with Sora. He hated the monotony of island life and built a raft with Sora and Kairi to explore the outside world. Riku seems to have vanished along with the Destiny Islands. Kairi, Islander. Kairi, Sora and Riku were best friends. They built a raft to sail out and see new worlds. The three were separated when a mysterious force struck the Destiny Islands. Thus did Sora's search for Kairi begin. Mickey Mouse, King of Disney Castle. He set out to learn more about the darkness and left instructions for Donald and Goofy to find and follow the key bearer. No one knows where King Mickey is now, but they are determined to find him. Donald Duck. Royal Magician, skilled in magic, but can be short-tempered and stubborn. He set out in the gummy ship with Goofy to find the king. Donald has joined forces with Sora, the key bearer alluded to in the king's letter. Goofy, captain of the Royal Knights. He avoids fighting whenever possible. Mickey's most loyal subject. He set out in the gummy ship with Donald to find King Mickey. He has joined forces with Sora, obeying Mickey's command to follow the key bearer. Minnie Mouse, Queen of Disney Castle, ruling in Mickey's absence. I, Jiminy Cricket, am accompanying Donald and Goofy as the royal chronicler at her request. Queen Minnie is more concerned than anyone about the king's disappearance. Daisy Duck, Donald's sweetheart. She's helping Minnie while the others look for King Mickey. She has Donald under her thumb and does a good job of keeping him in line. Pluto, Mickey's faithful dog. Pluto is more than a pet. He and Mickey are bound by strong ties of loyalty. Pluto set out with the others to find his master. Will that famous nose of his lead him to Mickey? I just realised that Pluto just kind of disappeared after finding Sora. Chip, one of the kingdom's specialists, helps maintain the gummy ship which can travel to any destination. Chip is more serious and diligent than his easygoing, playful partner Dale. Compared to the more serious Chip, he takes a happy-go-lucky approach to life. Huey, one of Donald's 3 nephews. Huey is the leader and he keeps playful Dewey and laid-back Louie in line. You can spot Huey by his trademark red cap. Dewey always wears a blue cap. Cheerful and easygoing, he works with his brothers in a shop in Traverse Town. Louie works with his brothers in a shop in Traverse Town, gentle and carefree, but notices a lot of things others miss. To find him, look for a green cap. Brooms. Enchanted brooms with a life of their own. They tidy up, maintain the gummy ship, do house repairs, wait on others, just about anything useful. Leon, a swordsman who wields the gunblade. His real name, Squall Leonhart. He escaped to Traverse Town when the Heartless raided his home world. To part with his old self, a man who had been helpless to stop them, he changed his name. Since meeting the king, who has been so vigilant against the Heartless, Leon has sought the truth behind the key. Yuffie, a female ninja who escaped to Traverse Town when her home world was taken by the Heartless. She stays strong and cheerful in any situation. She works with Leon and Aerith to unravel the secret of the key. Aerith. She lost her home to the Heartless at a very young age. Beneath her gentle disposition lies a strong will and a firm sense of duty. Many are naturally drawn to her. Aerith works with Leon and Yuffie to learn more about the Heartless and the key. Sid, owner of an accessory shop in Traverse Town, a highly skilled engineer and a first-rate pilot. When the Heartless invaded his world, he escaped to Traverse Town on a gummy ship he'd built himself. He is an expert on gummy ships. Tidus, a cheerful, self-confident boy who lived on the Destiny Islands. He considers himself a champ at everything. Nobody knows what happened to him after his island disappeared. Kinda creepy, really. Selfie, a spunky girl who lived on the Destiny Islands. She's rather impulsive and quite the romanticist. Nobody knows what happened to her after her island disappeared. Whacker, a boy who lived on the Destiny Islands. He looks out for Tidus and Selfie like a big brother. Nobody knows what happened to him after his island disappeared. Moogles, escaped to Traverse Town when the Heartless invaded their home. They know how to combine various items to form new ones. Pongo, a brave and intelligent Dalmatian. With his mate Perdita, he looks after 99 Dalmatian puppies. Quick-witted Pongo is an expert at escaping from tight spots. Perdita, a beautiful Dalmatian. With her partner Pongo, she takes care of 99 Dalmatian puppies. Perdita will brave any danger to protect her spotted charges. 99 puppies! Pongo and Perdita's puppies. When they work together they can be tough to beat. Ever since their world was destroyed by the darkness, they've been trying to get back together again. Time to head on board the gummy ship. The trip to the first world together is smooth. I'm not bad at flying, just bad at building, so I apologise in advance for that. We are also not allowed to meddle, i.e. we should keep the fact that other worlds exist as secret. From my understanding, this is to keep world order and stability, although I think this whole idea wasn't really used in later games.
We gotta protect the world border.
We arrive at the wonderful Wonderland, based on Alice in Wonderland from 1951. The original idea comes from Lewis Carroll's books. There are plenty of other adaptations, including ones from Jan Schwankmeyer and Tim Burton. Also related, there's the game American Mickey's Alice and the sequel Alice Madness Returns. It's one of my favourites and I am the proud owner of the art book. Along with the art book, I own a few Alice in Wonderland related items, including the VHS tape. So, Alice enters Wonderland by falling down a rabbit hole. So we enter this world in a very similar manner. I think Alice was falling for much longer in the original though. I'm just not sure if anyone would have wanted to watch these 3 falling for hours on end, but what do I know? We see the white rabbit as soon as Goofy lands flat on his face. We follow and make our way to the room with the talking doorknob. The doorknob was a special addition to the film which wasn't originally in the books. Being too big to really do anything, we drink from a bottle on the table that says "Drink me," which, in hindsight, drinking from a bottle you don't know the contents of isn't the best idea. So stay safe, everyone. We drink and shrink, which is luckily what we want. The door has fallen asleep, and I don't blame it, so we make our way through the hole and reach the garden where we see the cards, Alice, the Queen of Hearts, and the White Rabbit again. And oh boy are we here to intrude. Alice is apparently on trial, and the Queen of Hearts is absolutely convinced that Alice is the culprit for, quote, assault and attempted theft of my heart. Alice pleads innocent, but it doesn't work, and we get the famous line, off with her head. Sora questions if we should help. Wouldn't it be funny if we were just like, nah, and left? Alas, we have to do this to progress. Sora steps in and says that we know the real culprit and the Queen demands evidence. Poor Alice in this cage. We enter the Lotus Forest and find the Cheshire Cat who speaks in riddles. He eventually says something useful, that there are 4 pieces of evidence, and then disappears into thin air. The first piece of evidence is conveniently here on the floor. Footprints. The second piece is in the bizarre room and it's a stench. Lovely. The third, antenna. Side note, the chest in this corner is difficult to get to. It would have been easier if I had the flying ability from later in the game. The fourth piece of evidence is claw marks, which you get by standing very precariously on this tap. All in all, the Cheshire Cat is very proud of me, I think. I do get the power of ice from him, or maybe he just wants me to make him an iced coffee. You take these 4 pieces of evidence and lay them out in front of the Queen. Of course, she decides to add in 1 piece of her own and asks you to pick at random. So there's essentially a 4 out of 5 chance for me to pick one of my own boxes. But guess which one I got? Donald and Goofy are shoved in jail, so this results in us fighting against their cars, but I hit the Queen a few times out of spite. After this, the curtains reveal that Alice has disappeared, so it's not a very good cage after all. It turns out Alice has been kidnapped during all of the commotion. The Cheshire Cat returns doing some yoga. We ask him all about Alice's disappearance and he offers us some more hints. I waste no time at all and go and retrieve this chest. We journey to the Tea Party Garden. There's this very distinguished tea party in Alice in Wonderland, and the Mad Hatter, the March Hare and the Dormouse in the book are the characters usually taking part, but they're not here. They seem to be in this painting and they look quite upset. Not sure if this means that they are trapped in there. We did see the Mad Hatter shop in Traverse Town after all, but either way it's a shame that the Mad Hatter isn't a full character. In this room, sitting in certain chairs gives you rewards and some will spawn enemies. Of course, you know me, I make a mistake and end up having to fight. In the end I do get all the items and continue on with the dire task at hand, finding Alice. Of course, how could we forget? We return to the first room where we first shrunk, good memories, and we talk with the Cheshire Cat. He warns us that the shadows will be here soon, and this is where the boss, Trickmaster, shows up. I find the design really fun and enjoyable to look at, though reaching it to attack is difficult. You can also attempt to use blizzard magic to extinguish the flames. Slowly but surely, the Trickmaster fizzles out. The doorknob is now grumpy that I woke him up with all the noise, but we notice, hey, the keyhole to this world is in his mouth. So, open wide? No, never mind. We lock it and hooray, success. This is what we're aiming to do to secure each world we visit, as it stops the Heartless from entering. The Cheshire Cat tells us Alice has been taken by the darkness. He probably knew that the whole time. But that does mean it's time to leave, since there's now nothing else we can do here. Let's take a look at the journal entries for Wonderland and its characters. After falling through a deep hole, Sora and company arrived in Wonderland and followed a white rabbit all the way to the Queen of Hearts castle. There they witnessed a trial in which the unreasonable Queen falsely accused Alice. Angered by this injustice, Sora rushed in and challenged the Queen. He and his friends found evidence proving Alice's innocence, but the Queen simply accused them next and ordered her card soldiers to seize them. After fighting them off, Sora noticed that Alice had disappeared from her cage. While looking for her, he and his friends ran into the Trickmaster. monster. They defeated the powerful monster, but Alice's whereabouts remained unknown. Alice, a girl who fell down a rabbit hole into Wonderland. She often daydreams and is naturally curious. Falsely accused of trying to steal the Queen's heart, she was given an unfair trial and falsely convicted. Queen of Hearts, a Queen of Wonderland who lives in a castle with decks and decks of card soldiers. Selfish and short-tempered, she beheads anyone who crosses her. She thinks Alice tried to steal her heart. Playing card. Spear-carrying guards who serve the Queen of Hearts. They fear the short-tempered Queen and are careful not to irritate her. White Rabbit, loyal servant to the Queen of Hearts. He led Sora and his friends to the Queen of Hearts castle. Cheshire Cat, a mysterious, grinning cat who talks in riddles and can appear and disappear at will. He loves to mislead and confuse. Doorknob, a talking doorknob in the door to Wonderland. To enter you must turn him, and one good turn deserves another, as he would say. Surprise, we're back in Traverse Town. I go through this door in the 3rd district. I was meant to do this later, but I didn't. When we enter this house, there's this cutscene with Kyrie? She exclaims that this place reminds her of the secret place back on Destiny Islands. Sora is in disbelief, but then Goofy and Donald bring him back to reality. Turns out she wasn't actually there. Unfortunate. But then we meet Merlin, who has been requested by the king to help out. Merlin is from The Sword and the Stone from 1963, based on a book first published in 1938. Can't go wrong with a long-bearded sorcerer. He uses his magic to move furniture and objects and decorate the room, and we can train our magic here too. Oh, also the fairy godmother from Cinderella is here. She helps us with summons. And we can't miss out the journal entries for these two. Merlin, a great sorcerer living on the outskirts of Traverse Town. Merlin's wisdom and magic powers rank second to none, and he teaches Sora and his friends about magic. He has a mysterious bag that can hold anything, no matter how large. Fairy Godmother, a powerful but generous and good-hearted fairy who helps Sora and his friends. Slightly absent-minded but an expert at magic. She gives Sora and the others lessons in magic as well as advice on their journey. We next travel to the Olympus Colosseum. The Colosseum primarily serves as a place for battles and tournaments. When we go inside, Phil is also here, a half-man, half-goat, i.e. a satyr. He is the trainer of heroes. He is one of the characters from the 1997 film Hercules, which is inspired by the Greek myth Heracles. I struggle to even get in the right place to attempt to move this pedestal that Phil wants us to move. The joy of video gaming. We tell him it's too heavy, and it turns out he mistook us for someone named Hercules, who seems to be some sort of big hero. I don't know how he mistook us for someone like that, because we're literally a boy with a keyblade, a duck, and Goofy. He goes on to explain that heroes come from all over to fight monsters here. Goofy tries to talk us up, but by the look on Sora's face, I think he would have preferred otherwise. We get called a runt though, and that's enough for Sora to stand up for himself.
Hero? That runt?
What's so funny? I fought a bunch of monsters.
We are allowed to show Phil our skills, but we'll need an entry pass to take part in the actual games. The way we show him our talents is by hitting barrels. Fun. I'm not the best at it, but I get the job done. We're sadly still not allowed to compete, but upon leaving we bump into Hades. Hades is the main villain in Hercules. I like this quote on Wiki. Hot-headed, literally and figuratively, he will stop at nothing to see the end of Hercules. He magics us up a ticket for the games. This is kind of suspicious, but we take the pass and it seems legit enough. Once we win a match, we suddenly get introduced to a legend. Cloud. Cloud is the main protagonist from Final Fantasy VII. I think the style of this game suits him well. From what I saw, they actually used Vincent from Final Fantasy VII to help with Cloud's redesign here, which makes sense as to why he comes across a bit more intimidating than usual. Cloud is unsurprisingly in a bunch of Final Fantasy VII stuff, including this 25-minute OVA from 2005 called Last Order, Guys, the Final Fantasy VII remake, and he's also a guest character in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate along with Sora. Amazing.
Oh yeah!
Anyway, back to the matches. They all go very successfully because I don't die. After match 5, Hades is trying to give Cloud a pep talk. Cloud's objective was to defeat Hercules, but now of course he has to go through us, which he was not prepared for. With a mean demeanour, he reluctantly agrees to battle. So here we are fighting Cloud. I almost want to ask for an autograph. I come close to death a couple of times, but I start to recognise the patterns, and with a stroke of luck and skill I beat him. Time to celebrate. Oh no, okay. We're interrupted by a 3-headed hellhound. Pleasant. This is Cerberus, and Hercules, of course, runs in to try and save the day. He possesses great strength, but in the end we have to help fight and stop Cerberus eating Hercules and Cloud for lunch. This fight went surprisingly well. It's not the easiest boss, and locking on doesn't always help, but I drank a few potions and now I live to tell the tale. The last strike wasn't anything super heroic, but I'll take that hero license, thank you. We get dubbed Junior Heroes, woohoo! To climb the ranks we have to wait for more tournaments to open up. Hercules waving here is super cute, and on the way out you see Cloud sulking in the distance. He explains that Hades had offered to help him find someone, but whilst trying to exploit the power of darkness, it backfired.
I tried to exploit the power of darkness, but it backfired.
Aw, poor Cloud. Don't worry, we're in the spiky hair club together. Let's look at the journal entries for the Olympus Coliseum. Sora, Donald and Goofy fought brilliantly to advance to the finals. Their opponent was Cloud, who was hired by Hades to get rid of Sora and company. When Hades unleashed Cerberus during the match, Hercules entered the arena and took him on single-handedly. In the end, Sora and his friends helped Hercules defeat Cerberus. Phil was impressed by their feat and dubbed Sora, Donald and Goofy Junior Heroes. Hercules, a legendary hero with godlike strength. He's the son of the gods Zeus and Hera, but not a god himself. The people regard Hercules as a true hero. Philoctetes. Phil, the satyr, is a veteran trainer of heroes and Herc's mentor. These days he's very busy running the Colosseum and choosing competitors suitable for the games. Hades. Lord of the Underworld. He's using the Heartless to try to take over the world. To get Hercules and Sora out of the way, he sent Cloud to fight them in the Colosseum. Cerberus. Guardian of the entrance of the Underworld and Hades' loyal servant. Herc defeated him once, but Hades has brought him back to fight Sora and his friends. Cloud, a fighter hired by Hades to compete in the Colosseum. Despite his association with Hades, his heart remains untouched by the Heartless. Cloud keeps very much to himself, which makes him something of an enigma. What is he seeking? We next arrive, well, I say arrive. Donald and Sora have a fight which results in crash landing into the deep jungle. Honestly, I'm surprised Sora comes out with not even a scratch. This looks like a brutal, fatal fall. Through the roof too. Ouch. On top of that, we have to immediately fight this jaguar, named Sabor. We manage okay though, plus Tarzan jumps in to help us. However, it's worth noting that communication isn't our strong point.
Okay.
Tarzan is a film from 1999 based off a character that first appeared in the book Tarzan of the Apes from 1912, all about a man who is raised by gorillas in the jungle. Sora starts to hallucinate Kyrie, and meanwhile Goofy and Donald, who still holds a bit of a grudge, have crash landed in a different place. They end up meeting Clayton, a mean dude with a gun. Back with Sora and Tarzan, we make our way to the camp via tree sliding. What's funny is that I always, without fail, get smacked in the face with these branches. Once we make it to the camp, we meet Jane. She speaks English like us and asks if we're here to study the gorillas. At this point, Clayton brings in Donald and Goofy. Yay, we're all reunited. Although Sora and Donald are still mad at each other, and Clayton isn't really pleased with us either, so the whole mood is a tad awkward. Goofy shows us a gummy block, which is the stuff used to build gummy ships. This could be a sign that the king has been here. Jane explains that she's teaching Tarzan how to speak English by using photo slides. Unfortunately, she has lost these photo slides. Unsurprisingly, this means that we need to find them for her. Classic. Dotted around outside the tent is where we find all 6 slides, but also research notes for an experiment you can conduct which creates an ether. Cool. We view the slides together and Sora says he has a vague memory of this place. Clayton accuses Tarzan of hiding Sora's friends among the gorillas, which makes no sense, but Tarzan agrees to take us to them. Clayton shows us with an expression that, yet again, he is not the good guy. I place Tarzan in the party because my guide helpfully warns me that the jaguar is going to make another appearance when we head back outside. Tarzan is a huge help, and then we make our way to Hippo's Lagoon. Hippo's Lagoon becomes a prime showcase at why I suck at jumping. Once I eventually acquire this chest, we go up to the vines, where fortunately there's a bigger focus on swinging rather than jumping. We finally get a listen at Tarzan's voice when he speaks to Kerchak, the leader of the gorillas and Tarzan's adoptive father.
Kerchak, please listen to me.
Another gorilla called Kala is here, Tarzan's adoptive mother. He says that he trusts us and wants to help, which is very nice of him. Really. Kerchak isn't too impressed though, so we swing around for a while longer, Sora proving that his arm strength actually beats us all. Back at the treehouse, Donald is the one to save the day here. Clayton is ready to take a shot at the gorilla, which is pretty evil if you ask me. Clayton tries to cover up his very obvious attempt at murder, and Kerchak is very obviously not impressed. I wouldn't be either. We slide back down the tree because this is the hottest method of transportation in the jungle. Back at the camp, the jaguar is here yet again. Why can't, I don't know, the car show up instead? Anyway, I knock the animal to the ground once more, and don't worry, this is in fact not the last time it shows up. It already shows up again when I briefly visit this other area. The nerve. Clayton is still making excuses, and I genuinely thought Jane was going to slap him here. Mr. Angry Face leaves mumbling to himself, but a few seconds later, a booming shotgun gunshot is heard by all. We run out and, oh, one of the gorillas is surrounded by Heartless. I actually completely abandoned the situation for a second to check on abilities and items and such because I keep forgetting. The Heartless were very patiently waiting for me, and then I obliterate them all. Our task now is to save each gorilla. Clayton is also still missing at this point. Now, just guess what shows up here. Yep, jaguar. I am angry and strike it down one last time. And this time, I take one of its fangs. We also save Jane and this gorilla named Turk, one of the young gorillas, and finally stumble upon Clayton again. Or not Clayton, according to Tarzan.
Not Clayton.
We attack, and after getting the HP down about halfway, the wall explodes, and something invisible picks Clayton up. And after attacking a while, it's revealed to be a giant chameleon. It's kind of cute, in a way, but it still deserves to perish. Clayton is flattened, and the gorillas finally accept us. What's kind of funny is we just get yeeted into space without warning. This honestly could have gone very wrong, but Sora has had a lot of experience falling recently, so you know, the cliff softened our landing, I'm sure. We then make our way into the waterfall cavern. There's something about PS2 water that I really like. It's shiny, magical, and here we are at the final part. Jane and Turk are here too. Jane helps us understand that Tarzan is saying friends in our hearts. Is this possible foreshadowing? Sora and Donald become friends again, and we lock the keyhole and secure the deep jungle. Now that the jungle is behind us, we have another peek into the evil realm with Maleficent. Discussion is in full flow about Clayton's failure. Word spreads fast. And now enter Jafar. Spoiler, he'll be back very soon. It's very clear that these villains are watching, and oh, it's Alice. How dare they? They're the ones kidnapping the princesses. Funnily enough, if you complete the deep jungle before Wonderland, then Snow White is here in this cutscene instead of Alice. This is one of the few alternate cutscenes you can get in this game. It's cool. But yes, this gives us even more motivation to continue on our heroic adventure. But first, let's look at some journal entries. Sora and his friends sought to reach the gorilla's nesting grounds, but Clayton, possessed by the Heartless, stood in their way. He abducted Jane and hunted down the gorillas. In their final showdown, Sora and company defeated Clayton and an invisible monster named Stealth Sneak. Sora finally gained Kerchak's trust and was allowed to go to the nesting grounds. Tarzan led everyone to a cavern with a mysterious keyhole. When Sora sealed it with the keyblade, he found an unusual gummy block. Although Sora and the others couldn't find their friends, the new gummy block should help them get to another world. Sora, Donald and Goofy say goodbye to Tarzan and the others and continued with their journey. Tarzan, a young man raised from infancy by gorillas. His gorilla mother is Kala. Tarzan spoke only the language of the apes until he met Jane. Since then he's been learning to speak English at an astonishing rate. Jane Porter, a naturalist who's in the jungle with Clayton, her guide to study gorillas. She met Tarzan in the jungle and is gradually teaching him about human ways. She's courageous and will face any danger for her research. Clayton, a veteran hunter, Jane's guide on her expedition to the jungle. He thinks of animals only as prey. His lust for power and the darkness in his heart attracted the Heartless, and they used him for their own evil purposes. Turk, a young female gorilla and Tarzan's close friend. She is protective of the other young gorillas and acts as their leader. Unlike the other gorillas, her curiosity about humans is greater than her fear of them. Kerchak, boss of the Gorilla Pack. He was against letting Tarzan join the group, but Carla's resolve won him over. Kerchak worries that Tarzan's contact with people will bring danger to the gorilla community. Carla, the gorilla who found Tarzan in the jungle. She has always helped and defended him, even when he was scorned by the others. Carla is not happy about Tarzan's contact with people, but she knows it's important to him. Sabor, a leopard feared by all who live in the jungle and an enemy of Tarzan and the gorillas. Sabor is a cunning hunter who targets the weak and helpless. These new gummy pieces we have enable us to travel to new worlds, so we have to stop at Traverse Town for Sid's assistance. We open up the secret waterway and talk to Leon and Aerith again and update them on our progress. We explain about the keyholes and that we've sealed them, and Leon says that there must be one here in Traverse Town too. Sid helps us with the ship and also wants us to deliver a book to Merlin. We do just that. Sorry to leave you hanging, but I come back later. I get Simba from The Lion King as a summon, but I actually don't end up using summons hardly at all in this playthrough. Going back to District 3, we bump into... wait, it's Riku, everyone! With his hair flick and all. Sora is of course super happy to see Riku again, but like all good things, it doesn't last. We explain to him that as a 3 we have been searching for him and Kairi, and we reveal that we are in fact the Keyblade Master. Riku suddenly has this off vibe and strangely disappears.
Oh, he's gone.
Riku?
It's revealed by Sid that Maleficent is in town. He must have spies or something. The Final Fantasy crew here tells us of how Maleficent uses the Heartless and how 9 years ago their own world got taken over and now they're all here in Traverse Town. And you're right, Donald, that is awful. Again, Ansem has mentioned the ruler who had dedicated his life to studying the Heartless. Maleficent is actually quite close by, convincing Riku that Sora doesn't care about him anymore.
While you toiled away trying to find your dear friend, he quite simply replaced you.
He goes with her, which can only lead to bad things. Also, a bell above the gizmo shop has been ringing, so we are asked to check it out and ring it 3 times. We successfully make our way up, and upon ringing, a keyhole is revealed in the fountain below. But before we get a closer look, the boss is back. Just like before, I aim for the head and destroy it. A fairly simple fight though, and we seal the keyhole for Traverse Town. Briefly popping into the accessory shop, we get this special little cutscene with Pinocchio, who says he's been playing hide and seek, which of course is a lie. I also beat the second tournament at the Colosseum, named the Phil Cup, mostly off camera, but I got the gravity spell, which is very, very useful. So now, we are off to our next destination. AGRABAH. Maleficent is talking with Jafar about the Heartless finding the keyhole.
I'm certain we'll find it soon enough.
Just a casual morning conversation, really. Oh, and there's the parrot too, Iago. Jafar is the villain in the film Aladdin from 1992. He's pretty scary. The film is based on the Arabic folktale Aladdin from 1001 Nights, and of course there's the game as well. There aren't many remakes or anything, but we do have this infamous one from 2019 with Will Smith. Maleficent is strong-willed in the fact that they must find all 7 princesses of heart to open the final door, hence why they kidnapped Alice and now why they are here seeking out Princess Jasmine. And speaking of, turns out she was hiding behind these watermelons the whole time. Watermelons clearly make the best hiding spot, but Jasmine is not too fond of what she just overheard. Back to the main trio, I get caught off guard because I wasn't ready to battle, so Sora gets punched in the face. The punch in the face reminds me that I should probably change my Keyblade now that I have a better one. We find that Jasmine has upgraded from watermelons to boxes, and she explains that Jafar controls the city after he gained evil powers. She also wishes for Aladdin's safety.
Where might I find
And it's at this precise moment we realise that Jafar has been creeping. Jasmine makes a run for it and we instantly get into a fighting stance, showing off our shiny new Keyblade. We fight through the Heartless and make our way to Aladdin's house. Aladdin isn't here at the moment, but look, his magic carpet is. Seems to be stuck under something. Ooh, loot. After freeing the rug, it flies off towards the desert. Now, this chest outside of Aladdin's house gave me so much trouble it's embarrassing. The magic carpet ends up taking us to where Aladdin and his pet monkey Abu are, but they are moments away from an actual horrifying permanent death by sand. This looks extremely uncomfortable. We save Aladdin, he reveals Genie from the lamp and uses a wish to get rid of the enemies.
Genie, get rid of these guys!
Genie is very fun and animated and voiced by Dan Castellaneta here of Homer Simpson fame, but of course in the movie Genie is voiced by Robin Williams. Aladdin tells us that he found the magic lamp and carpet in the Cave of Wonders. He also tells us about Jasmine, little does he know that we met her already, and he has love woes. He thinks that Jasmine doesn't like him back, and we reveal that actually she's in trouble.
Oh, that's right. She's in trouble, Aladdin.
Luckily, this gets the train rolling and we are off to save the princess. We get dropped straight into a fight again and we head to Aladdin's house, and he's not surprised at all that we know where he lives. Genie here just drops that he's heard of keyholes before, around 200 years ago. The Cheshire Cat from earlier also seemed to know about them before, so we can maybe assume that there's some long history going on. Unfortunately, Jafar and Jasmine are in front of the palace gates. Jafar is extremely rude, so Aladdin sets Genie on him. However, it looks like Aladdin decided he didn't need to grip on the lamp with any force at all, and the parrot snatches it away.
Huh?
Much to our despair, Jasmine is whisked away too, and we are left to fight again. A pot centipede this time, which is made out of these pot spiders, which sounds really horrific on paper. I beat it though, and obtain a ray of light. Sounds just like me. We follow Jafar into the desert, and here we have another boss which shakes Aladdin to no end. Basically a tiger head. I defeat it by jumping onto its head and attacking an eye. But once we defeat it, its mouth becomes a cave entrance. It's a bit annoying in the Cave of Wonders because it's easy to fall and have to climb back up, and also this happens. Here I was thinking I was good at video games. We start wrestling our way through, fall a few more times, and make it to the treasure room, full of, you guessed it, treasure! We also get into the secret room with Abu's help, where we at long last find Jafar, Jasmine and Genie having a wonderful meeting.
My first wish, Genie, show me the keyhole.
This face should be a meme. Jafar and Maleficent are sharing distaste for Sora's actions, and are also trying to figure out what exactly to do with Riku. Maleficent proceeds to do a disappearing act, and we plead to Jafar to let Jasmine go, which, shock, doesn't work. Jafar starts up a fight and wishes the Genie to crush us. Luckily, Genie has some restraint, not dealing much damage and apologising. Now, I'm not going to lie, I got really distracted and just died. I don't remember what happened, obviously not much on my end because I forgot to do anything. I go through the cutscene again because, let's remember, they're not skippable. I cunningly defeat Jafar, but it's not the end of him. It turns out he is still very much alive and grants his last wish. He asks to be made into an all-powerful genie. The main goal is to actually attack the parrot here and get the lamp back, so I focus on this and avoid big attacks from Jafar from afar. It takes a little while, but eventually Iago drops the goods. Evil Jafar gets sucked into the lamp and Jasmine is saved. Oh no, wait, she's not. Deja vu, Jasmine has been kidnapped. We decide to lock the keyhole anyway because that is also our purpose. And then we're suddenly flying back on the magic carpet. This segment really reminds me of PS2 era. In the end, Aladdin wishes for Genie's freedom rather than finding Jasmine, which is very noble of him. Genie gets legs, and end scene, Aladdin and Genie become friends. Aww. Oop, here we are again in the dark. They should really get some lights in here. Riku says that he did his part by bringing in the princess. Shock. Hades and Maleficent remind him of their deal.
You help us, and we grant you.
He gets shown a hologram of Kyrie, and apparently a vessel is waiting.
Kyrie, go to her.
Riku is still a tad apprehensive.
Silly boy. You're like a son to me.
Ha! Yeah, right.
I seriously doubt that.
And you know what's next? Journal entries. AGRABAH. Hoping to take over AGRABAH, Jafar took Jasmine and the lamp with them to the Cave of Wonders. Sora and his friends followed him there, where they encountered Maleficent. They learned that Maleficent and Jafar are rounding up 7 princesses, Jasmine being one, with the power to open the final keyhole. With Genie at his side, Jafar attacked Sora and company. Somehow they defeated him but could not find Jasmine. She had been abducted by someone else. They returned to AGRABAH, where Aladdin freed Genie with his final wish and asked him to help Sora find Jasmine. Genie agreed and joined the party. Aladdin, a young man living in AGRABAH. He helped Sora defeat Jafar and used his last wish to release Genie from the lamp. Aladdin asked Sora and friends to help save Jasmine, who has been abducted. Genie, the spirit of the magic lamp who has been freed by Aladdin with his third wish. Genie has joined forces with Sora and friends to rescue Jasmine from captivity. Jasmine, the strong-willed princess of AGRABAH. Jasmine longs for the freedom of life outside the palace. She's in love with Aladdin but doesn't know his real identity. She left the palace to seek Aladdin's help against Jafar. Jafar, the royal vizier of AGRABAH. He joined forces with Maleficent and tried to control the Heartless. He gained control of the lamp and became a powerful genie but was defeated by Sora and friends. Jafar Genie. With his last wish he became an all-powerful genie himself, but he forgot that all genies share the same fate, to serve whoever controls their lamp. In the end, his lamp became his prison. Abu, Aladdin's faithful furry sidekick. Abu's size and ability make him valuable in tight spots. He's got a weakness for jewels and treasure, and when he's around them he can't think of anything else. Iago, Jafar's cunning, crotchety parrot. He's Jafar's eyes and ears and he flies around Agrabah spying on his master's enemies. Iago takes after Jafar with a penchant for intrigue and evil. Carpet, a magical flying carpet, loyal to Aladdin. Carpet can carry passengers over the vastness of the desert at great speed. The Heartless had Carpet pinned to the floor under a chest. We also got ANSEM'S Report 1 after defeating Jafar. Much of my life has been dedicated to the pursuit of knowledge. That knowledge has guarded this world well. Not a soul doubts that. I am blessed with my people's smiles and respect. But though I am called a sage, there are things I do not understand. I believe darkness sleeps in every heart, no matter how pure. Given the chance, the smallest drop can spread and swallow the heart. I have witnessed it many times. Darkness. Darkness of the heart. How is it born? How does it come to affect us so? As a ruler of this world, I must find the answers. I must find them before the world is lost to those taken by the darkness. The first thing I'll say about this next world is that it's a first-class place to get lost in, and to get there you first have to get swallowed up by a ginormous whale called MONSTRO. Jiminy recognises this mammal though, so we should be fine. Right? We could easily think that we were legitimately just eaten and therefore dead. It immediately cuts to a flashback as well. The cutscene features young Sora and Riku back on Destiny Islands. They are saying that there is a huge monster in the cave and wonder if they can beat it. This is where they first notice the door and indicates to us that this door has been there for a while. They seem disappointed that there isn't a monster. There's no impressing kids, really, is there? They also mention that there's a new girl on the island, which of course is Kairi. Many questions. Back to the trio, they are still alive. Hooray! This is where the wants to be a real boy Pinocchio shows up. Jiminy Cricket is obviously relieved because this is his world too. Pinocchio was first released in 1940 based on an Italian novel from 1883, and there was of course a video game adaptation. Pinocchio is a wooden puppet, although he does move independently. His nose becomes longer when he lies, and in order to become a real boy like he dreams, he needs to be good and tell the truth. There are many adaptations of Pinocchio, one being the very well received stop motion. We also find Geppetto, Pinocchio's creator and father. I'm surprised we don't give Geppetto the fright of his life when we peek over the side of the boat. Oh, and Cleo the goldfish is here as well. Geppetto explains that he spent a long time searching for Pinocchio when they got separated. Whilst he is saying this, Pinocchio wanders off, which really isn't a good boy thing to do.
Right, Pinocchio? Pinocchio!
Donald has a good old jump before we rush off after Pinocchio. We actually don't have much searching to do as Pinocchio is just here, and something doesn't seem right.
But Sora, I thought you liked games.
Oh look, it's Riku again everybody. Riku has come to play annoying guy now and steals Pinocchio. Running after him, this is where the game guide becomes even more useful because there are a handful of chambers to go through. You have to do them in the right order ish since there's treasures to get to, and some highlights from this are me struggling to jump, me struggling to jump, and me struggling to jump. Honestly, it takes quite a while to get to the right place, like most of my recording for Monstro is just me running around these chambers. But once you get to the right place, a cutscene starts. Maleficent is talking with Riku again. She explains to him that the Heartless are preying on the darkness in his heart, which isn't good.
Heartless prey upon
Wonderland.
Pinocchio sprints away and Sora is mad. Riku accuses us of showing off, and I mean, with this giant keyblade, why wouldn't we? We of course still very much care and want to save Kairi, that's very important, but our current task is getting Pinocchio back to safety, which isn't going swimmingly because he's actually trapped inside this thing now. It's called the Parasite Cage. Riku actually helps us fight here, which I completely missed when playing because I started blasting fire magic like no one's business. Even Goofy and Donald were baffled by my technique. After this, creepy weird looking hole shows up and Goofy learns cheer. Down below it starts shaking and Riku has now captured Pinocchio.
With this puppet.
He's no puppet.
After a heartfelt sequence, he walks off, and being a wooden puppet, Pinocchio is likely quite easy to carry. This is where you get an improved jump ability, although Goofy is intent on practicing his walking. Despite their head start, we hurry after Riku and Pinocchio again. Back surrounded by surreal colours, we jump up and into the stomach because that's exactly where we want to be, I guess. Riku tries one last time to get us to join him, but we are on Pinocchio's side. Pinocchio proceeds to say that he's not going to make it, which is pretty dark, but don't worry, he's fine.
Oh, I guess I'm okay.
But we do have to confront this monster again, and this time Riku says F this and leaves. I still use the same technique as earlier, but there's a bit more to dodge. I was so close to being it the first time, but alas my lack of strategy caused me to get smacked in the head, so I had to climb through the stomach a second time. I'm a bit more careful and make sure to stock up Donald and Goofy with items. It goes much better and the cage monster is defeated. After finishing up here, Monstro very pleasantly sneezes us back out. We don't have to worry about a keyhole here because he's a whale and not a world, but we wish for Pinocchio and Geppetto's safety, of course. Turns out our wish is granted at supersonic speed, and if you go to Traverse Town, Geppetto and Pinocchio have already settled in nicely. If you go in and out of their shop a bunch of times, Pinocchio gives you a rare Chocobo gummy ship blueprint. And now knowing that they're both safe, we can do some reading. Monstro. Inside Monstro, Sora and his friends ran into Pinocchio and Geppetto. Pinocchio wandered off, and when Sora found him, he also found Riku. It was a strange reunion, and Riku suddenly ran off with Pinocchio. Baffled by Riku's behaviour, Sora followed them. Amidst all the chaos, a Heartless attacked Pinocchio and left him lying motionless. Did it consume his heart? No way. His heart survived and will remain strong as long as I do my duty as his conscience. Pinocchio awakened when I called his name. Riku fled the scene, leaving Sora bewildered by the change in his friend. Pinocchio. Crafted by Geppetto and brought to life by the Blue Fairy. He'd have lost his heart to the Heartless if I hadn't come to the rescue. Now he's living in Traverse Town with Geppetto and working hard to become a real boy. Geppetto. The kind, gentle clockmaker. Sora and friends helped him escape from Monstro's belly. These days he's living in Traverse Town and looking forward to the day Pinocchio becomes a real boy. Jiminy Cricket. That's me, the cricket who keeps Pinocchio to the straight and narrow. I'm along on the quest as the Royal Chronicler. With some very dramatic framing through a window, we see Riku is somewhere different, looking at Kairi. It seems like Kairi's heart was taken by the Heartless and Riku is as desperate as Sora to do something. Maleficent explains that there are 7 maidens of the purest heart and altogether they will be the princesses of heart. Gathering them together will make a door open to the heart of all worlds with untold wisdom. She suggests this is the key to recovering Kairi's heart. And gives Riku the power to control the Heartless as well? Wow. Even though I love this game to pieces, I think Atlantica might be my least favourite level. Especially without a guide, it can be a little bit frustrating to navigate, but nevertheless the music is very catchy and it's all very entertaining, although hearing this soundtrack for up to 2 hours straight does get to you. Also, seeing Donald this way is a little strange and goofy, but I get what they were going for, I think. Atlantica is based on The Little Mermaid from 1989, loosely based on the 1837 Danish fairy tale by Hans Christian Andersen, who was a very prolific writer, including works The Princess and the Pea, The Ugly Duckling and Thumbelina. There's also a video game of The Little Mermaid and a live-action film that released in 2023. Ariel is a strong-willed princess and the youngest daughter of King Triton. Ariel and her friends Sebastian and Flounder are here when we arrive. They teach us how to swim properly, which they should do quickly because otherwise we may drown. We must go forth to the palace since monsters are spawning everywhere. To get to our destination, we have to follow these very conveniently placed trident marks on the sea walls. There's also clams dotted around that have items inside them, but enemies try to stop you. The seabed is clearly a dangerous place. Once we eventually reach King Triton with Heartless hot on our tail, Ariel seems surprisingly happy? King Triton feels confident as long as he has his trident, but he's not very pleased with the creatures that have invaded. King Triton seems skeptical of us, and I don't blame him since we look like this. Goofy brings up that we are searching for the keyhole and His Majesty is displeased, and Ariel is now not allowed to leave the palace. He seemed really taken aback by the mention of keyholes. After we leave, he wonders if he's being too strict, and to that I say, yes. Either way, he's also concerned with the currently exiled Ursula, an evil sea witch who is likely up to no good. I died once as well, but we don't talk about that. It's also good to make sure to ride this dolphin for a bit because it means it will show up later in a place we need it to. After entering Ariel's grotto, she shares all the wonderful stuff she's collected, which reminds me of me and my own grotto. Ariel has an adventurous mind and wants to see if there is more out there. We all decide to search for the keyhole together. I steal a few things from Ariel's collection and then make my way out. But then these two evil looking eel things show up. They are Flotsam and Jetsam and they serve Ursula. They look like they should be a comedy duo or something. Ursula is watching us. She has the Heartless on her side and she is pretty obsessed with taking over Atlantica.
And I've got the Heartless.
Remember the dolphin I talked about a little bit ago? Now, here, we can ride it through the rapids and we turn up at the sunken ship. There's this weird thing in the wall behind here, but we can't do anything with it yet. We can just look at it. We explore the sunken ship though, and when we get to this chest, we get horrifically jump scared by the shark. Like really, it's quite terrifying. Despite its sharp teeth getting nail-bitingly close, Sora, Goofy and Ariel sit there as if nothing's happened. We open the chest to find a crystal trident. Upon exiting, the shark is still extremely angry with us. I'd much prefer it to be this shark from Shark Tale, to be honest. It's a challenging little fight. I have to heal a few times since he does a lot of damage, but Ariel is very helpful and we hit the shark enough to scare it away. Back in Ariel's grotto, we place the crystal trident into this spot, but unfortunately King Triton comes in, angry as ever. He immediately destroys it and we get told off. He clocks that we're not from this world, even though it's been blatantly obvious. Oh, and he definitely knows something about keyblades and keyholes. Ariel is of course distraught, and this leaves her vulnerable to Flotsam and Jetsam. After a few spooky lines, they explode into dust and Ursula pops up. She says that she lives for helping others, which of course she doesn't. She outright outs us and then convinces Ariel to go with her. So now we have to save someone again. Ursula convinces Ariel to take her to King Triton's throne room in order to find the keyhole, which of course is a trap. Ursula steals the trident and King Triton is absolutely done with the whole situation. However, the keyhole is not in the throne room as she thought.
What?
As she disappears off, we are tasked with getting the trident back. Back at the sunken ship, the shark makes yet another appearance. We take it down and Sebastian here helps us with this mysterious looking button. It opens an opening and we are plunged into this dark area where Ursula dwells ominously. It's time to enter combat once again.
Your time has come!
I enjoy this particular section of the boss fight. I think it's fun how you focus all of your magic onto the cauldron and then you can essentially stun and attack Ursula. And all things considered, this goes well. I don't die. After this we learn to swim faster and learn the mermaid kick, and my guide tells me about getting an item from a sea urchin. With our new swimming certificate we can make it to the suspicious 3 question marks area. Ursula is there, she spins and transforms into a huge version of herself. Now this fight is the hardest one so far. I don't know why, but getting behind Ursula to attack was tricky. She constantly turns to look at me, but I get it eventually, after 10 minutes. Don't judge me. She sinks away and we get the trident back. Hooray! King Triton better be pleased. Turns out he is. Apologies happen all round, and King Triton explains he knew that the keyhole was dangerous and he just wanted to keep Ariel safe. Which makes sense, I guess. We all know that keyholes are extremely dangerous at this point. We, however, still have to do our duty, but not after some difficulty with trying to save. The keyhole is in Ariel's grotto, so we lock it, get a new keyblade, which I remember to equip immediately this time, and then we leave Ariel to continue dreaming of adventure. And for us, it's reading time. Atlantica. Ariel, a princess of Atlantica, yearned to go to other worlds, but her dream could not be realised as King Triton, her father, forbade such notions. Ursula took advantage of this to coax Ariel into leading her to Triton's trident, which she then seized for herself. To atone for her mistake, Ariel went to Ursula's lair with Sora, Donald and Goofy to retrieve the trident. After her morays were defeated, Ursula used the trident's power to become a giant, but was vanquished in the end. With the trident's power, Sora found the keyhole and sealed it. Ariel, Triton's youngest daughter. Ursula tricked her into helping steal his trident. With help from Sora and the others, all was put right. Still, she'll never stop dreaming of exploring the world outside her father's palace. King Triton, King of Atlantica, who is backed by the power of his trident. He has forbidden Ariel to have any contact with outsiders, which only led to her yearn to grow even stronger. Ursula. She deceived Ariel and stole the trident to take over Atlantica. Using its power, she became an enormous monster and battled Sora, Goofy and Donald. Sebastian. Triton's concert master and musical genius. The little crab is also responsible for keeping an eye on Ariel to ensure her safety. Whenever she leaves the palace, he's on pins and needles. Flounder, Ariel's trusted friend. Flounder will do anything for her. He's small and not exactly brave, but he'll never leave Ariel's side, even when it means facing danger. Jetsam, Ursula's lackey along with Flotsam, an evil moray eel. Jetsam is a smooth talker who loves to deceive. His speciality is using empty promises to lure unsuspecting mermen and mermaids into Ursula's clutches. We also got ANSEM'S Report 3 after defeating Ursula. The shadows that crawl beneath the castle, are they the people who lost their hearts, or incarnations of darkness, or something entirely beyond imagination? All my knowledge has provided no answer. One thing I am sure of is that they are entirely devoid of emotion. Perhaps further study will unlock the mysteries of the heart. Fortunately, there is no shortage of test samples. They are multiplying underground even as I write this report. They still need a name, those who lack hearts. I will call them the Heartless. We have landed in Halloween Town, which I think is loved by a lot of people, including myself, especially in terms of design. The outfits are magnificent and it's certainly more stylish than being a sea creature, in my opinion. The Nightmare Before Christmas is a film directed by Henry Selick, produced by Tim Burton. The original story is also by Tim Burton, or more so the original poem. It is the story of the King of Halloween Town who stumbles upon Christmas Town. Christmas Town isn't present in Kingdom Hearts 1, but it is in the second game. There is also a game based on The Nightmare Before Christmas. Goofy expresses his worry by saying, "I'll bet the people here are scary looking too, and that's something I think every day, Goofy. Don't worry." This is a great level to play during Halloween, and that's even more apparent once we meet the main skeleton himself. But first, we have the Heartless to defeat. Or so we thought. The Keyblade just sort of phases through them, so we stand in disbelief. After a while, the mayor introduces Mr. Jack Skellington, the Master of Terror. He arrives in this very iconic manner, same as in the movie. The mayor is another main character. He literally has two sides to him, happy and sad. At the moment, he is very happy. He is saying how the Heartless will be a big hit at this year's Halloween, and to be honest, he's not wrong. They would make great spooky decorations. Jack, being Jack, doesn't think that they are scary enough, so we make our way to the research lab where we consequently find one of the creepiest looking characters. This is Dr. Finkelstein, a mad scientist of sorts. He is the creator of Sally, a character we'll also see in a bit. He has great passion for inventing, but is also a little bit grumpy. The goal is to make the Heartless dance, which sure, why not? The first plan of action is to get this heart unlocked. Donald doesn't really agree with the situation, but apparently the crab from my new Keyblade wants to help. We unlock the heart, and then Jack asks us who we are, which probably should have been asked earlier, but who am I to judge? Jack explains that the Heartless came to town recently, but unlike other worlds, they're not scared of them. I mean, the Heartless do fit in with the whole vibe, so it makes sense. They just want them to dance. Spooky visuals aside, we need all of these components to make the heart work properly. The doctor calls out for Sally to help with a memory ingredient, but she is nowhere to be found. Time to track her down. The Heartless are now completely out of control and the mayor no longer has his happy face on. This experiment may have caused the Heartless to start being a bit chaotic and out of control. It does also mean that we get to fight with Jack now though, which is pretty fun. Side note, ringing this bell 3 times gives you an elixir. Heading into the graveyard, we get rid of the Heartless and Sally turns out to be here. She has the memory ingredient, i.e. a forget-me-not. Sally doesn't seem too pleased with the plan to make the Heartless dance, so things feel a bit off. On our way out, these kids pop out of a coffin. They were eavesdropping. Their names are Lock, Shock and Barrel. They're going to tell someone or something called Oogie Boogie about this heart business. We head back to the lab and talk to the doctor again. We need one more ingredient, which, surprise, is surprise. Not sure if that's an ingredient I would particularly look forward to getting, but whatever the doctor wants, we'll try and get it for him. Apparently the mayor should know where it is, so we go and do all the work. We suddenly see this very cheerful looking guy. He's making Lock, Shock and Barrel a bit uneasy, so we can assume this is Oogie Boogie. When he learns that Jack is making a heart, he wants his hands on it. He wants to control the Heartless himself. We next actually go through the coffin and get to this place. The mayor is already here and he tells us about ghosts rising from tombstones. This is like a mini game of sorts, but a fairly quick one. You just have to repeat the order of the tombstones. I succeed and this pumpkin reveals a Jack-in-the-Box. This is the surprise that the doctor wanted. It certainly was a surprise, so now we're off to deliver it. However, upon delivery, one of those rascal kids suddenly appears from under the bed, trips up the wheelchair and causes Dr. Finkelstein to fall over, and the heart gets stolen. This game is the bringer of bad news. Jack then calls for his ghost dog, Zero. Zero finds out that the kids have gone this way, in a bathtub of all things. They're also going over the very iconic spiral hill under the moon. We fight some more in this area, and in time we reach Oogie's Manor. The pumpkins either side of the pathway leading up to the entrance is very on theme, so 10 out of 10 for that. Also, if you fall off here, you can use the bathtub to take you back up again. So confession, this fight against Lock, Shock and Barrel, I did way more than I needed to. I wasn't super focused and made a bunch of mistakes, but these things happen. I eventually do it, and they come out with the excuse that they were just following orders. Very suspicious. There's always some sort of bigger enemy lurking behind the scenes. Two of them blame Barrel, which is funny because it was clearly all three of them. Lowering the lever, you go to the door which says torture chamber. Exciting! Here is where Oogie Boogie is. We first order him to give back the heart, which, you know, I love how everyone tries asking politely before anything else. Oogie bellows with laughter in response and uses Heartless in his aid to fight us. This is one of my favourite fights for sure. It's really creative and I love that you have to step on the right button to attack him. In the arena we jump over spinning blades, spin around, jump more and attack at the correct time to defeat him. Rather horrifyingly, he is made of insects and he ends up as a flat piece of fabric. Creepy. To be honest, Sora looks creepy too. All of a sudden there's a big noise and there is now a giant Oogie and he kind of looks like a big tree. It's really awesome, to be honest. It's a great boss design, brimming with the power of darkness. You have to climb up and attack all of these purple orbs. This can be a bit awkward, like again it's easy to fall, but it goes fairly smoothly. Upon finishing, Oogie is gone for real. Well, he sinks away, which I assume means he's gone for good. We walk up with our not-so-on-theme crab keyblade and lock the keyhole, and it's all very satisfying. Returning to Jack, he apologises to Sally for being so silly. They have to cancel the Halloween celebrations, even though I think they still had plenty of style to continue Halloween all the same, but you know, it's their choice. Jack gives us a keyblade that actually matches the place, the pumpkin head. Dr. Finkelstein is still struggling to make a heart, but we leave him to his problems. We decide then to leave this terrifying realm behind us and continue on our journey. And to calm down our spooks, we can do some reading. Halloween Town. Jack, the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town, worked with Dr. Finkelstein and created a heart to control the Heartless for the Halloween festival. Oogie Boogie, plotting to use the heart to take over Halloween Town, had Lock, Shock and Barrel steal it. When Sora and company arrived at his manor, Oogie Boogie tried to summon a swarm of Heartless with the heart, but failed. Evidently, the heart was incomplete. After Sora and his friends defeated him, Oogie Boogie turned into a giant monster, becoming one with his manor. However, he was beaten yet again and disappeared along with the manor. Sora sealed the keyhole in Halloween Town. Jack Skellington, the Pumpkin King. He loves to scare people out of their wits, headstrong, confident, and likes grand gestures. Now he's working night and day to make this year's Halloween festival the greatest ever. Sally, Dr. Finkelstein's creation. She's patched together from parts that sometimes come off and move about on their own. She loves Jack and tries to steer him in the right direction, though it doesn't always work. Oogie Boogie, the villain who tried to take over Halloween Town. The heart he stole from Dr. Finkelstein attracted the Heartless, and the result was his doom. Dr. Finkelstein, the mad scientist who created a heart to help Jack control the Heartless dancing. Sally is another of his creations. She helps him around the lab, but she'd much rather spend time with Jack. Zero, Jack's ghost dog. He comes out of his grave whenever Jack calls. He's very loyal to his master and loves it when Jack plays with him. Locke, the ringleader of the trio that includes Shock and Barrel. Their walking bathtub helps them get around while they commit all kinds of mischief. They sometimes help Oogie, but they're not really fond of him. Shock. Along with Locke and Barrel, she's part of Oogie Boogie's plot to take over Halloween Town. Shock is the most cunning member of the trio. She keeps her cool when the other two are losing it. Barrel, a member of the trio that includes Locke and Shock. He's a little slow and often ends up as the butt of his partner's pranks and practical jokes. The Mayor, the two-faced mayor of Halloween Town. He switches from his happy face to his sad face depending on his mood, which changes constantly. He's working with Jack to make this year's festival the best ever. And actually we also got ANSEM'S Report 7 after defeating Oogie Boogie. ANSEM'S Report 7. I am now studying material from the meteors that rained down that fateful night. What a find. The material is foreign to our world. It is elastic to the touch, and when two pieces are combined, they bond easily. None of the records I've scoured even mention such a substance. Was it introduced to this world when I opened the door? I wonder how many other such materials drift through the atmosphere of this tiny world. I wish I could soar off and find out. Could there be uncharted worlds up there? My curiosity never ceases to grow. But I should stop speaking of such unrealistic dreams. For now, there is no way to venture outside this world. My people and I are all but prisoners of this tiny place. Next stop, Neverland. We've had a whale flying towards us, now we have a huge ship. Just forgive me for still having a basic gummy ship. Upon arrival, we realise that Riku is here, bitter than ever. Kairi is also revealed and doesn't look, well, to be honest. Maybe she's just seasick. Riku explains that the Heartless obey him now and that he has nothing to fear. I love this comeback from Sora though.
You're stupid!
And yes, Riku is utterly convinced that his heart is really strong and consequently has a few tricks up his sleeve. He starts out with making this Heartless version of us, which is cool but pretty evil. We all know that having any sort of replica of yourself in a video game is bad news. This is Captain Hook's ship. This is him here, and also Mr. Smee, his personal assistant. They are from the film Peter Pan from 1953, which is an adaptation of the 1904 play and the 1911 novel named Peter and Wendy. There are other adaptations of course, including one from 2003 which I think many people find nostalgic. Since Sora now knows where Kairi is, he is overcome with happiness, and he is in so much of a daydream that he doesn't realise that he's squashing Goofy and that Goofy is squashing Donald. Ah, true friendship. A boy in a green outfit then shows up and says that he is the answer to our prayers.
I'm the answer to your prayers.
I assume he's been here the whole time, but we don't really trust him. Tinkerbell dashes in, a little fairy who stars in many cute animated films. And now she has been trying to find a girl named Wendy. And it's worth noting that the voice actor for Wendy here is the original voice actor from the film, and she also actually voices Alice. Great stuff. So, we can't understand Tinkerbell, but Peter Pan can. Apparently though, another girl is trapped in the room with Wendy, which we can assume is Kairi. So we all go together to attempt rescue. It takes a fair bit to fight through the ship's rooms, but it's good for levelling up, so I can't complain. After a while, you get a cutscene where Peter suggests we try out flying. I love the silence here.
You want to try?
We get a lot of sparkly, magical glitter sprinkled down onto us from above, but we still can't fly just yet. In a turn of events, we find out that Wendy is in fact not one of the Princesses of Heart. Also, I'd like to point out that Ariel wasn't a Princess of Heart either. Captain Hook is confused about what on earth Maleficent is planning with all the actual princesses, and yes, I'd like to know too. All Riku really cares about is getting Kairi back. We still have that in common. Hook warns us that Kairi's heart has been lost to the Heartless and is outraged when he finds out that we have escaped and Peter is now our ally. We, in the meantime, have found Wendy and Kairi, who is still freakishly out of it. The little twitch of her hand gives us hope, but unfortunately she gets dragged away. After fighting through the ship, again, I spent ages trying to get up this ladder. Here we fight against the Sora replica. Honestly, it looks really cool. I did die once, but, you know, in the end, I managed to knock him down. At the same time that Goofy and Peter are knocked down as well. Thanks for the help. team. We go down this trap door and find Wendy, who isn't in the best shape, so Peter Pan Kairi flies her away, and we meet Captain Hook on the deck. He informs us that Riku has run off with Kairi to the ruins of Hollow Bastion, which is also where Maleficent is. Of course, we would love to immediately rush after them, but Captain Hook has unfortunately captured Tinkerbell, and yeah, Sora begins to lose hope. All of a sudden, a crocodile shows up. Crocs are dangerous. This is the very beast that took Captain Hook's hand. Hook is naturally afraid that he is about to become Captain Two Hooks, so he hides away. Sora is forced onto the plank, and as we back up precariously, we notice the crocodile clearly wants a meal. In a series of tense events, we almost get eaten, but at the last second, our new flying magic comes in super handy. And also Peter Pan has returned. This is all very fortunate, otherwise the game would have just ended there. Peter Pan lures Hook back out. This leads to a boss battle, and I'd like to note that you can set his trousers on fire, not like there's anything surrounding us that could instantly put it out or anything. Another silly mistake leaves me dead, but after some patience we leave him burnt with soggy trousers and an increased phobia of crocodiles. Sora isn't as down in the dumps now as you'd expect. He's excited to tell Kairi all about his flying adventures. He even says an inspirational quote which I think we should all stick to our walls.
If you believe, you can do anything, right?
Then it's time to visit Big Ben to sort out the keyhole. Also, how these Dalmatians got lost up here is beyond me. Our job now is to set the clock to midnight. I genuinely don't know how I couldn't find the giant clock face at first. We lock the keyhole at the stroke of midnight, and we also get Tinkerbell as a summon. After this what from Sora just cuts so quickly, I don't know, I find this funny.
What?
Then there's another brief cutscene of young Riku and Sora. They say that this new girl arrived on the night of the meteor shower. Riku turns around and notices the keyhole, which makes me wonder, did he always know more? In current day, he is in a moment of struggle and recklessness. Relying on dark powers could cost him his heart, yet he still wants to release his full potential.
Realize your full potential.
You know the drill. Journal time. Neverland. Sora and company, trapped inside Hook's ship, searched for Kairi and Wendy, who were locked away somewhere below deck. When they found them, they learned that something was wrong with Kairi. She remained dormant, as if she had lost her heart. Just when Sora thought Kairi was within reach, Riku snatched her away. Sora and the others pursued them to the main deck, where Hook and his men waited. With Peter Pan's help, they defeated the pirates, but Riku and Kairi were nowhere to be found. For now, Sora could only hope to see her again. When he sealed the keyhole at the clock tower, Sora found a gummy block. Will he be able to find Kairi again with his new block? With Tinkerbell now in the party, Sora and his friends continued with their journey. Peter Pan, the flying boy from Neverland where no one ever grows up. He can be stubborn, but he's also fearless and has a strong sense of justice. He snuck on board Hook's ship to rescue Wendy, who was kidnapped. Tinkerbell, the little pixie from Neverland. Peter Pan asked her to accompany Sora and friends on their quest, but she's anxious to see Peter. Wendy, a dreamy girl whose wish to visit Neverland came true. Peter Pan showed her the way, but she got caught up in Hook's vendetta against Peter and was kidnapped by Hook. Captain Hook, the pirate with a grudge against Peter Pan, who caused him to lose his hand to the crocodile. He threw in his lot with Maleficent and the Heartless, but ended up being chased over the horizon by the crocodile. Mr. Smee, Hook's first mate. He lives to take orders from Hook, but he's as slow-witted as Hook is obnoxious. The crocodile, a sea-going reptile big enough to swallow a man whole, and he's always hungry. He got a taste of Hook once and never forgot it. Hook can tell when he's near by the sound of the clock ticking away in his stomach. We also got ANSEM'S Report 9 from Neverland. Simply astonishing. Today I had a guest from another world. He is a king, and his vessel is built of the material that composed the meteors. He called the pieces gummy blocks. It seems that my opening that door has opened a path to interworld travel. We talked for countless hours, but one story in particular caught my interest, that of a key called the Keyblade. The Keyblade is said to hold phenomenal power. One legend says its wielder saved the world, while another says that he wrought chaos and ruin upon it. I must know what this Keyblade is. A key opens doors. It must be connected to the door I have opened. We take a brief stop in Traverse Town to ask Sid to install more gummy pieces into our gummy ship, to help us travel to new places. Sora is a little down in the dumps again, but Goofy reminds him that everything will work out okay if he believes in himself. After closing his eyes in meditation, he hears Kairi's voice. Sora then is gliding into lots of light beams, and he starts witnessing a memory of Kairi's, with which we can assume is her grandmother. Long ago, people lived in peace, bathed in the warmth of light. Everyone loved the light. Then people began to fight over it. They wanted to keep it for themselves. And darkness was born in their hearts. The darkness spread, swallowing the light and many people's hearts. It covered everything, and the world disappeared. But small fragments of light survived in the hearts of children. With these fragments of light, children rebuilt the lost world. It's the world we live in now. But the true light sleeps deep within the darkness. That's why the worlds are still scattered, divided from each other. But someday, a door to the innermost darkness will open, and the true light will return. So listen, child, even in the deepest darkness, there will always be a light to guide you. Believe in the light, and the darkness will never defeat you. Your heart will shine with its power and push the darkness away. Do you understand, Kyrie? Do you understand, listeners? Watchers? After this, we get a horror-esque shot with Sora floating in the air. Actually, he is now just returning to reality. He is shocked and wonders what all of that was about. Sid returns, and the gummy ship can now take us to Hollow Bastion. But before anything else, a detour. Remember the book that we gave Merlin? That was in fact the book to 100 Acre Wood, which is from Winnie the Pooh, a children's story from 1926 which follows a very cute bear. I really want to get into it more because I adore the whole setting. There's a lot of really wholesome and lovely media, and also the film Christopher Robin. You enter the book and run around on top of the pages. You can only enter each place after finding the torn pages throughout the game. Luckily, I've been doing this the whole time. They are located in AGRABAH, MONSTRO, ATLANTICA, Halloween Town and Traverse Town. Jumping in here, we find Winnie the Pooh overthinking. We introduce ourselves and he tries to explain his worries. He says that everyone has started disappearing and he wants to find them whilst also saying goodbye to himself, in case he also goes away. Kinda sad really. Even his favourite honey tree is gone as well, which is absolutely abysmal news. The look on Sora's face here is so funny to me though, like why do they have him sit in silence like this?
Think.
Pooh gets hungry and walks away. We then find him at his home, and it's all very cozy, and after staring at him through the window, I go up and hit his chimney, which releases an item. Inside, he is still yearning over honey, so clearly this is the most pressing matter right now. We go to the big tree, and Piglet comes out of the log searching for Pooh, but is very easily startled by Sora's looming presence. Oh my god, I would be too. He runs away, and we are made to sneak up behind him. Fortunately, we can chat now, or potentially terrify him even more. We reunite the two and Piglet gives Pooh a balloon, and this is where the first minigame starts. Pooh wants to float up the tree to collect honey, however bees will be angry, so Sora is tasked with keeping them away. So this causes some frustration. I might have been doing something wrong, but I just found it difficult to land on the branches. Like one slip up and you're back at the bottom. My best score was 144, and Pooh is happy nonetheless. After, we go to Rabbit's home, where you can find a letter from Pooh in the mailbox already. What's funny is that you can pull out the pumpkins and lettuces to find items, essentially vandalising the vegetable patch. We find Rabbit inside and proceed to stand awkwardly. Why are Sora's expressions so funny now? Rabbit thinks he is all out of honey, but it turns out it's just tucked away in the ceiling. Of course. When we try to leave, it turns out Pooh is now stuck trying to get out of Rabbit's home. Why he didn't use the front door? I'll never know. Apparently the fix is apple juice. No, carrot juice. Apparently the fix is carrot juice, and this is where Tigger arrives. For the second minigame, we have to stop Tigger from bouncing on the carrots and destroying them. This one is fun, but still a little tricky. You can hit the rush command to help you. Sort of. I score 70. Now that we have saved the carrots, we can also save Pooh. Next, the swing. Here Pooh and Piglet are peering down into the river, and it turns out Eeyore has fallen in. Oh no, it looks like quite the predicament. Once we rescue him, it turns out he has lost his tail. We decide to help search, which Owl gives us some help with. After guiding Pooh to the swing, this minigame is probably the easiest one. You have to press R1 at the right time. Owl spreads his wings when you need to press the button, so following his cue, you can get Pooh to crash land and consequently find Eeyore's tail. As a side thing here, you can also pop back to Pooh's house to light this fire since he is cold, and then you get an item. Then we basically have to go and jump around a lot. All of my jumping practice in the game has led up to precisely this moment. Roo is also here. For the game, you simply have to follow Tigger's lead. There's also this other game where you have to whack the nuts back at the pot to shatter it. Weird, but not too bad. Owl is also asking for you to find some rare nuts which are dotted around the area. What a day of full exciting activities this is turning out to be. In the final area, Pooh is making sure that everyone sticks together to make sure they don't get separated again. However, he is already lost because he followed these suspicious footprints, likely his own, and this is kind of like hide and seek, but when we find each character we put them safely in this bush. Roo is on the branch, Rabbit is in this cave, Tigger is bouncing on this log, Piglet is hiding in the tree, and Owl is perched right here. For nervous Piglet, you have to guide Pooh all the way up to him so that he will come out. After all of this, the whole team is back together, thank goodness. Because of this, we can lock the keyhole here, and you can actually finish the game without doing this at all, but the end cutscene is very sweet. Pooh is thinking about what to think about, and Sora has this reaction.
I'm just thinking about what to think about.
Well, I'm off.
So yeah, that's done. Now we must get back on track and save the world. But not until after some journal entries. 100 Acre Wood. Sora was whisked away to the world of the 100 Acre Wood, inside a book in Merlin's house. There he met Winnie the Pooh, who said all his friends had vanished. Some of the book's pages had been torn out, taking his friends with them. Sora collected all the scattered pages and brought Pooh and his friends back together. A happy ending! Winnie the Pooh, a little bear living in the 100 Acre Wood. His favourite food is honey. Being a bear of very little brain, he's a bit absent-minded. Sometimes he even forgets what it was he was trying to remember. Piglet. Pooh's best friend in the 100 Acre Wood. Tiny, timid Piglet is startled by just about anything. When that happens, he covers his eyes with his floppy ears. Tigger. Tigger loves to bounce more than anything. Sometimes his bouncing gets out of hand, but he doesn't mean any harm. Beneath that happy-go-lucky exterior beats a sensitive, gentle heart. Owl. The wisest resident of the 100 Acre Wood. Whenever anyone has a question he can't answer, he asks Owl. Though Owl isn't always right. Owl likes to talk, but sometimes he puts his listeners to sleep. Rabbit. Rabbit is an earnest, hard-working member of the 100 Acre Wood community. He keeps to himself, but lends a hand when others need him. He's not always comfortable around the exuberant Tigger. Eeyore. Timid, retiring Eeyore lives in a little house in the roots of a tree. His tail is held on by a tack, but it keeps falling off and getting lost. Now he's wandering the woods, looking for a new home. Roo. Roo dreams of bouncing as well as Tigger someday. He's mischievous, energetic and fearless, but grows uneasy when Tigger is not around. Now it's on to the nitty-gritty, the final parts of the game where everything comes together. Here is Hollow Bastion, a place that has influences from Beauty and the Beast and Sleeping Beauty. Sora oddly feels a sense of familiarity here, a warm feeling inside. Donald is convinced he's just hungry. We experiment with walking on water and make our way up to the floating platforms. We see that the Beast is here with none other than Riku. After Belle went missing, he vowed that he would find her again no matter what and ended up here. Beast is from Beauty and the Beast from 1991, which is also based on a fairy tale. In 1756, an abridged, rewritten version of the fairy tale was also published. There's also a French film from 1946 which influenced a Disney animated film as well, and the story follows Belle, a young woman who finds herself in the castle of a prince who's been turned into a mysterious beast. A live-action remake was also released in 2017. Riku angers Beast, who then goes for an attack. Riku does a sick dodge. Sora shouts stop because remember, words before violence.
Stop!
Riku says he's been waiting. How nice of him. He says that there can't be two Keyblade Masters and he wants the Keyblade itself to choose. It's like asking a puppy to run to its favourite parent.
Let the Keyblade choose.
The Keyblade shockingly flies over to Riku, which revealed the Keyblade was meant to be Riku's this whole time, confirmed by Maleficent. I think because Sora's heart is strong and he didn't succumb to darkness like Riku, the Keyblade stuck with him. Up until now anyway. I feel bad for Sora, he did just fight all the way here after all. That should count for something, right? Donald and Goofy make the difficult choice of continuing to follow the Keyblade Master, so they leave but not without their apologies. Beast wants to continue to fight, so we pick up the wooden sword that Riku mockingly gave us and bravely continue on together. We make our way up to the locked palace doors. This area can be quite confusing when you're playing it for the first time. Great music though. These crystals help us get around. We first go down to the waterway, where alongside Heartless there are big bubbles to access other areas. In general, there's not a lot to report. There's some fighting, some examining, some jumping. Speaking of, I had no idea you could use Blizzard to jump on this. Once we eventually flip the switch for the door, we go back up, and even though I'm halfway through stabbing this Heartless in the back, a cutscene begins. Here is our first visual of where the kidnapped princesses are. We see Snow White, Aurora, Alice, Cinderella, Jasmine, Belle, and oh, Maleficent has Kyrie. Maleficent ominously steps up these steps and then asks for the keyhole to be revealed.
Reveal to me the keyhole!
Then a light show begins in the hall. Back to Sora and Beast, we enter the hall. Beast instantly gets distracted by what appears to be Belle, but it's a trick and now he's gone. Riku pops up and tries to force us to quit. Maybe he should think about quitting. He changes outfit and tries to be intimidating.
The darkness will destroy you.
You're wrong, Riku.
He's wrong. We are strong against the darkness. Sora's heart is with all the friends he made along the way.
My heart will stay with my friends. It'll never die.
And this is ultimately what causes Donald and Goofy to come back to our side. Yay, we are best buddies. Riku thinks Sora's heart is weak, but boy is he wrong.
Your heart? What good will that weak little thing do for you?
Sick burn though. Our heart isn't alone, and this is where the Keyblade realises that Riku's heart has indeed been tainted by darkness, and Sora is a much better fit. Too right. We get thrown into battle against Riku. With the strength and teamwork we've built up along the way, we are victorious. Riku sorely loses and runs off. Beast comes back in, most likely kicking himself that he fell for that trick and missed the fight. Next up, the library. Now the librarian clearly hasn't done their job and there are a bunch of books not in the right places. We have to put them back and this results in a path being opened up. We get to this lift system. It's pretty cool looking, but I must admit it's way easier to navigate with a guide. Upon defeating some Heartless, we acquire pieces so that we can get through this door. Another cutscene of Riku begins. He seems to be talking with this familiar, mysterious figure. Riku's heart had a moment of weakness in front of Sora, so it is apparently crucial that he gets stronger, which I don't know about that. The figure recommends that Riku opens himself up to darkness, so now he glows green another time. The trio continue travelling around on all these platforms, including this one that looks more like a wrestling ring. After figuring out this weird staircase situation, we get shown where Riku and Maleficent are, in the castle chapel. More importantly, Kyrie is there too.
I see the path has emerged.
Riku sounds like he has a sore throat now, and Maleficent is still making progress on their goals.
Unlock it, and the Heartless will overrun this world.
What do I care?
Unfortunately, when they attempt to unlock the keyhole, it doesn't work. Maleficent blames Kyrie and apparently her power is needed. And this is exactly when she notices us, or in her words, the King's Fools, and she wants to deal with us.
The King's Fools are here.
Now that we are face to face with her, I will finally explain that she is the villain from Sleeping Beauty. If you made it this far, thank you for staying tuned. As a side fact, there's also this live action film Maleficent from 2014 starring Angelina Jolie.
You think you can defeat me?
Maleficent in the game says, "Do you think you can defeat me?" And my answer to that is yes. Yes, I do. It was also pretty easy, may I add. You can basically use the gravity spell on her platform, land a bunch of attacks, and repeat alongside fighting Stray Heartless. Overall, it's satisfying. It's the next fight that I have bad flashbacks of. After defeating her here, she doesn't seem to be vibing with the situation anymore, and Riku is concerned
Do you need some help?
for her health. We also notice that Riku now wields his own Keyblade with special powers such as, oh, okay. Turns out what I said about Riku being concerned wasn't really true, as he proceeds to stab Maleficent in the chest and asks her to surrender and become darkness itself. She then explodes into a green beam. Then boom, she's a dragon. For this fight, jumping on the dragon's back helps a lot. My guide also said to use a strike ability, which was a little bit hard to aim since the dragon likes to constantly move in circles. Beast is a big help, and even with Goofy dead half the time, we all succeed together. Maleficent melts into a purple splatter on the floor, and it turns out we don't need a cleaner because Riku's foot does the job. He also reveals that the Heartless were using Maleficent right from the beginning. Now we make our way to the castle chapel, and it's very grand indeed. We sprint up the stairs, careful not to trip, and see Kyrie lying on the ground. I feel bad for her, she's been transported all over the place. Unfortunately, Riku explains that she has lost her heart, and yeah, is this even Riku anymore?
You're not Riku.
It turns out Kyrie is one of the princesses of heart. Who knew? The keyhole will remain incomplete without her heart. And yep, Riku has definitely been taken over. So here is where there's another important reveal. Kyrie's heart was within Sora's heart the whole time. To explain it further, back on Destiny Islands, Kyrie's heart found a way to keep itself safe by seeking refuge in Sora's heart. This is also why Sora kept faintly recognising places. Those were Kyrie's memories. This is all, however, quite the predicament.
Who are you?
And also, meet ANSEM, the very person whose reports we've been collecting.
The Seeker of Darkness.
Donald, bless him, tries his best to tackle down ANSEM immediately, but with no luck. ANSEM tries to take Kyrie's heart from us, but Sora doesn't allow it and we jump into battle. This fight definitely involves a lot of dodging, and you can also reflect these attacks. I do this with some difficulty, and in the end, we win, and thank God for healing magic. ANSEM disappears, and we realise that we can't actually lock the keyhole until the keyhole is a keyhole, i.e. complete, so Sora needs a way to get Kyrie's heart out of his yeah, he essentially stabs himself with a keyblade. Honestly, this is super heroic, I kinda love this scene. To also explain, the other 6 princesses' hearts were merged together to forge this keyblade, hence why upon its shattering, the hearts return to their owners. Although what's kind of sad is that once Kyrie wakes up, she instantly sees Sora falling to the ground and then disappearing.
Sora!
Henceforth, he floats into darkness. ANSEM suddenly returns and celebrates the fact that the keyhole is complete. Riku, still possessed, uses some strength to appear, telling Donald, Goofy and Kyrie to run. I think he may have gotten possessed when the mysterious figure made him turn green. However, because of Kyrie's heart being released, the keyhole is now complete. But how will it get locked if Sora is gone? Well, this is now Sora. Yes, this Heartless. We run around like this for a while trying to find our friends. We eventually reach them, and luckily Kyrie instantly recognises Sora after Donald bonks us on the head. The Heartless should have had Sora's hair or something. When the Heartless jump to attack, we get protected by Kyrie. Basically, Sora's heart had been corrupted by darkness, but by Kyrie's princess/light power, she dispelled the darkness. Neat. The Beast returns too and helps us to escape, and we go straight back to Traverse Town. We all talk to Leon there, and the Heartless are now an even bigger problem. Sora needs to seal that keyhole back at Hollow Bastion, so yeah, we head straight back. The princesses are mingling in the Grand Hall. I talk a little with each of them, and apparently ANSEM is gone, happily swallowed up by the darkness. There are certainly a lot of Heartless around now, and we have to jump into the keyhole to fight the boss within it. All you do here is jump on, keep healing, and use special attacks. It was pretty fun, and upon winning, we hear a voice say, "Sora, you did it!"
Sora, you did it.
Looks like Leon, Aerith and Yuffie are here. What a nice surprise! Turns out this is their childhood home. Apparently it's quite a bit different now. They tell us that if ANSEM is defeated, the worlds should be restored, including Destiny Islands. However, that means that the worlds will be separated again and will all be apart. We close the keyhole, we get some more of ANSEM'S reports from Aerith in the library, and all that's left now is to take the gummy ship to the Heart of Darkness. Time to get rid of the darkness, once and for all. I want to point out that talking to Kyrie here in Traverse Town reveals that she was indeed from Hollow Bastion originally. So naturally there are a few more journal entries, and reading these is clearly more important than saving the world right now. Belle, a brave and intelligent young woman who understands the Beast's true nature. She's one of the 7 princesses needed to open the final keyhole. She and the Beast have lost their world to the darkness. Beast, a prince who was changed into a hideous beast because of his selfish heart. Belle has helped heal the loneliness he suffered due to his ugliness. To save Belle, he made his way to Hollow Bastion alone. Snow White, a beautiful princess, gentle and pure as snow. She's one of the princesses needed to open the final keyhole, and was captured by the Heartless. Her world has already been swallowed by the darkness. Cinderella, a hard-working young girl who's often bullied by her stepmother and stepsisters. She is one of the princesses needed to open the final keyhole and was captured by the Heartless. Her world has already been destroyed. Aurora, a young woman with a lovely voice. She is loved by 3 good fairies and cursed by Maleficent. The sorceress captured Aurora to help open the final keyhole. Maleficent, a sorceress of awesome power. She tried to use the Heartless for her own evil ends, but the Heartless were actually using her. She turned into a huge dragon when cornered by Sora and his friends. Dragon. Maleficent became a huge dragon when the Keyblade released the darkness in her heart. The dragon wielded both Maleficent's power and the terrible forces of darkness. Ansem. As a researcher and ruler of his world, he studied the Heartless and delved into the many secrets of the worlds. While studying the heart and the darkness within it, he was possessed by darkness and ultimately destroyed his own world. He sacrificed his body to attain great power and later possessed Riku's to regain a physical presence. Failure to stop him means the end of all worlds. Along with the ones Aerith gave us, you also get ANSEM'S Report 5 after beating Maleficent the first time round. ANSEM'S Report 5. To study the Heartless behaviour, I picked one out for observation. It wiggled its antenna and, as if sensing a target, headed deep into the castle. In the deepest part of the castle, its antenna began vibrating as if searching for something. Suddenly, a strange door appeared. I'd never known of its existence. It had a large keyhole, but didn't seem to be locked, so I opened the door. What I saw on the other side mystified me. What was that powerful mass of energy? That night I observed a great meteor shower in the sky. Could it be related to the door that I have opened? ANSEM'S Report 2. It is my duty to expose what this darkness really is. I shall conduct the following experiments. Extract the darkness from a person's heart. Cultivate darkness in a pure heart. Both suppress and amplify the darkness within. The experiments caused the test subject's heart to collapse, including those of the most stalwart. How fragile our hearts are. My treatment produced no signs of recovery. I confined those who had completely lost their hearts beneath the castle. Sometime later, I went below and was greeted by the strangest sight. Creatures that seemed born of darkness. What are they? Are they truly sentient beings? Could they be the shadows of those who lost their hearts in my experiments? ANSEM'S Report 4. The Heartless appear in groups and are multiplying rapidly. I've provided them both living and non-living samples. They've responded only to the living. They seem to multiply after absorbing something from the living creatures. Their prey vanishes without a trace. I believe the Heartless are taking hearts. They are born from those who've lost their hearts and thrive on hearts seized from others. The hearts taken by the Heartless become heartless themselves. Though I lack proof, I am confident in this hypothesis. I must also study their behavioural principles. Though they lack emotions, they do seem to have some intelligence. How to communicate with them? It just occurred to me, could they be the darkness in people's hearts? ANSEM'S Report 6. A massive core of energy lay beyond the door sought by the Heartless. It may well be the ultimate goal of all Heartless. But what is that energy? I have devised a hypothesis based upon my observations of the Heartless. The Heartless feed on others' hearts and they yearn for their energy core. That thing beyond the door must be a heart too, the heart of this world. There is no proof, but having felt that immense energy, I am certain that was the heart of the world. The Heartless are trying to take hearts not only from all living creatures, but from the world itself. But what do they mean to do with the heart of the world? ANSEM'S Report 10. Just as people have hearts, so do worlds. The same can be said of stars in the night sky, and deep within each world lies a door to its heart. The Heartless desire those hearts. Born out of darkness in people's hearts, they seek to return to a greater heart. Yes, that's it. The Heartless come from people's hearts, as does the darkness. Is the core of the world's heart the world of the Heartless? I will pursue the answer there and become all-knowing. My path is set. I shall seek out the wielder of the Keyblade and the princesses. My body is too frail for such a journey, but I must do this. I will cast it off and plunge into the depths of darkness. It's time to go to the end of the world. Scary stuff. We turn up at this very purple place where Sora begins to have some worries. But don't worry, Goofy tells us, no worries.
But no worries.
After a bit of encouragement, we go to each teeny platform and fight Heartless arena style. I didn't actually realise that each platform points in the direction of the next one. Actually, it's pretty obvious, isn't it? After fighting, collecting, running and jumping, we get to the end point. And we get teleported here, still trying our best to find ANSEM. It's all getting increasingly dangerous. We arrive at this interesting looking platform with a glowing beam. Going platform by platform, going through each beam, grants you a nostalgic battle in each world. Now if the beam is purpley pink, it means we've locked the keyhole to that world, and if it's blue, you haven't. I've locked them all, so they're all purple. Traverse Town, Wonderland, Olympus Coliseum, Deep Jungle, AGRABAH, ATLANTICA, Halloween Town, Neverland and 100 Acre Wood, which conveniently has a save point. We reach what I think is called the Diabolical Lab and read this text. Ones born of the heart and darkness, devoid of hearts, ravage all worlds and bring desolation. Seize all hearts and consummate the great heart. All hearts to be one, one heart to encompass all. Realize the destiny, the realm of Kingdom Hearts, the great darkness sealed within the great heart. Progeny of darkness, come back to the eternal darkness. For the heart of light shall unseal the path. 7 hearts, 1 keyhole, 1 key to the door of darkness, tied by 2 keys. The door of darkness to seal the light. None shall pass but shadows returning to the darkness. Ones born of the heart and darkness, hunger for every heart until the dark door opens. So that's a tad cryptic. I think we can assume that this is ANSEM'S computer. Let me try and rephrase this in my words. 1. Heartless, destroy stuff. 2. Kingdom Hearts is destiny. Darkness is destiny. 3. All descendants of darkness should return to darkness. 4. Basically, I think, the path was revealed back in Hollow Bastion. 5. The door of darkness unlocked by 2 keyblades. 6. When the door of darkness opens, darkness will flood out and Heartless will return to darkness with all hearts. Keep in mind that I'm only sharing information and thoughts based from Kingdom Hearts 1 alone. I am well aware that later games add way more on top of this. I think there are quite a few complex theories floating around, so if you want to look them up, be my guest. Anyway, going through the vortex, we get this boss called Chernabog, which is actually from Fantasia. He's very creepy with big wings, and I am astounded at how quickly I did this. I remember it taking way longer when I played before, but I think I'm a good level at this point. There's not too much to explain around here other than the Heartless are relentless now. They are powerful, but not as powerful as me. Look at that health bar. Continuing through, we get to our last save point in front of this door. This door is the point of no return and it tells us to not be afraid. We will open the door to the light. Going through, we are here. On Destiny Islands of all places. It looks a bit worse for wear, but we go near the secret place and things start being weird. ANSEM starts monologuing. He tells us that we understand so little, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sora is confused out of his mind right now. We run up to him and he basically summarises Riku's story.
He sought a way to cross over into other worlds, and he opened his heart to darkness.
Riku!
Don't bother. Your voice can no longer reach him where he is.
He goes on to tell us how all worlds and hearts begin and end in darkness, and how every heart returns to darkness in the end, exclaiming that darkness is the heart's true essence. Sora challenges this by saying that he believes that deep down, hearts have a light that never goes out.
The heart may be weak, and sometimes it may even give in. But I've learned that deep down there's a light that never goes out.
ANSEM disagrees as usual. Now we begin a series of fights that will take us to the conclusion of the game. Exciting.
Every light must fade. Every heart return to darkness.
The first battle you can fight pretty ferociously, but sometimes freeze will replace the attack command and it's pretty easy to press it and get your health drained by ANSEM'S Guardian. Once we win this, the dark side makes a return. Fancy meeting you here, it's nice to catch up. The battle is unsurprisingly like the ones earlier in the game. Attack hand, attack head, you get the idea. Straight after, ANSEM and his Guardian show us that they're still not backing down. Donald and Goofy are excluded from this fight as well, which makes it trickier. There are a lot of attacks that require a hefty amount of dodging, healing and items are crucial, and there's honestly just a lot of moments where you can miss the opportunity to attack. After a while though, we drain him of his health and we are suddenly in what ANSEM calls the Endless Abyss. Within it lies the heart of all worlds, Kingdom Hearts.
Within it lies the heart of all worlds. Kingdom Hearts.
Ooh, name drop. Ansem is utterly convinced that there is no light there.
From those dark depths are all hearts born.
And then he turns into what I believe is called World of Chaos.
Darkness conquers all worlds.
This kind of looks like a ship. So, big cool final boss time. Although Donald and Goofy are taken away again, so we again have to fight alone. Again. Honestly, I'm surprised how well all of this went. Casting AGRABAH for defense and spamming attack a lot actually turned out to be quite a decent technique. After the first health bar, we turn our attention to rescuing Goofy and Donald. Essentially, we have to battle through Heartless in some dark rooms and also destroy some rows of artillery. We access a couple of portals where we get Donald and Goofy back, and then we are reunited. We defeat the boss once and for all. Together, that is what we do. Although my heart nearly stopped here. Look how close I was to dying. But luck was on my side, and I got in that one final hit. And upon the final hit, Ansem isn't a ship anymore.
The Keyblade alone cannot seal the door to darkness.
Ansem calls for supreme darkness from the door. Sora is still convinced Kingdom Hearts is light.
Kingdom Hearts is light!
And when the door opens, Ansem gets completely blinded. So yeah, there is always light, even in the deepest darkness. After Ansem is gone, we run up to the door and attempt to close it. Looking within, there are a bunch of Heartless, and we keep trying with all our might. However, it's not quite working. We need some help. And don't worry, luckily Riku is on the other side. The side of darkness. Everyone is trying their best, but it doesn't seem to be quite enough. But oh wait, what is this? Mickey Mouse is finally here, everybody! Ah, I love Mickey Mouse. Now, why is Mickey hardly in the game? Well, because of Disney. Nomura stated that according to the contract, he was only able to have one cutscene with Mickey, and this is it. It's pretty epic though. Anyway, with Sora wielding one Keyblade and Mickey the other, two Keyblades together seal the door. The door of darkness tied by two keys to seal the light. And the light is deep within the darkness. The door fades away and Kairi suddenly makes an appearance. Sora runs up and an awesome end of game cutscene begins.
I'll come back to you. I promise. I know you will.
Destiny Islands is getting restored, but Sora is still separated from it. Honestly, I admit, this scene always makes me emotional at the end of playing. Look how beautiful. So the worlds are getting restored. Kairi strolls around Destiny Islands once again and notices Sora's added drawing of the Powerpoo fruit. Ah, stop it now, I'm gonna cry. And that's it. Roll credits. We did it, everyone. We made it. We also get this post-credits cutscene. Donald, Goofy and Sora are still together, wondering what to do. They decide first, Riku and Mickey should be found. They are a tad disheartened, but hey, it's Pluto, with another letter. And good question, Goofy, where have you been, Pluto? We sprint after him, and this can only mean new adventures await. I think at the time there weren't necessarily any set plans for a sequel, but I wouldn't be surprised if Nomura had some stuff in mind. And yeah, there we have it. We have closed the door to darkness. It is brought up again at the end that Sora will be the one to open the door to the light. So I'm going to admit something. I wanted to get this video out by the end of 2024. One of the reasons I didn't was, well, I took a lot of time trying to do everything I wanted to do in the game, which was kind of the point of the video, but it took a lot of time. Extra bosses, secret cutscenes, Ultima Weapon, you get the idea. And also I had a cold for the first 5 days of the year. To summarise though, first I finished collecting all the Dalmatians and Trinity Marks. I got most of these from following the guide throughout my playthrough, but there were a few I had to go back and collect. You just get a bunch of rewards from Pongo and Perdita, and the joy from reuniting a bunch of dogs. After getting the satisfying 100% there, I then wanted to get the Ultima Weapon. This meant farming for a lot of ingredients all over the place. But I wanted to level up as much as possible, so it wasn't a huge problem. There were 24 items to synthesize beforehand. These are the ingredients for the Ultima Weapon. Mystery goo is from these mushrooms. You have to respond to their gesture with the correct magic. For example, when they shiver, use fire. So yeah, I got the Ultima Weapon. It doesn't have my favourite design, but it's powerful, which we like. There are also a couple of optional bosses. One is at the clock tower in Neverland, and one is in the desert in AGRABAH. The one in Neverland has a big cloak and likes floating around, and the one in AGRABAH is big and has 6 arms. There is also the last of the COLISEUM fights. Now, I'll let you in on another secret. I beat the game before realising that you can get a special extra cutscene. If you 1. Collect all the Dalmatians, which I did, 2. Lock all keyholes, which I did, and 3. Beat the Hades Cup, which I didn't do. So yeah, I did everything at the Colosseum and then beat the game again so I could get this cutscene. Look at my health bar now. I was level 100, the highest level by this time, so yeah, that made it a lot easier. I love the style of this cutscene, it's so cool. It also confirms that Nomura had other ideas and concepts for future games. Of course, by now if you have played the later games, it makes a bit more sense. However, at the time, this being the only hint at something else is awesome. It really does make you think, what does it all mean? Of course you can look it up if you want to understand it, but I'm going to keep this ambiguous because that's kind of how it was meant to be, I think, at the time. I just think visually it's amazing. I also beat the hardest fight at the Colosseum, the one against, wait for it, Sephiroth, the villain from Final Fantasy VII. It was difficult and, well, you don't get anything for beating him, so, you know, I'm just happy I did it. Once known as the greatest of swordsmen, his whereabouts have been unknown for some time. He challenged Sora to a one-on-one duel. No one knows why he has suddenly returned. Apparently, he and Cloud have crossed paths before. We also get ANSEM'S 8th report after the Hades Cup. ANSEM'S Report 8. There is no doubt that the Heartless are deeply connected to the people's hearts. Further study may unravel both their motivations and the mysteries shrouding the heart. As a start, I've built a device that artificially creates Heartless. By recreating the conditions that spawn the Heartless naturally, I should be able to produce them artificially. This device is a combination of all my research thus far. The machine's test run successfully created a Heartless. This may be a step towards creating a heart from nothing. The artificially and naturally created Heartless showed nearly identical traits, but the two types should remain distinct for the purposes of this experiment. So I will mark the ones that are created artificially. And yeah, I'd like to make note that you can also get 3 extra reports in the final mix version, which definitely clears up a few extra things. I think the only thing I didn't really do was gummy ship stuff, but anyway, I am satisfied. I feel like I've done enough, and this was my in-depth, full experience of the PS2 game, Kingdom Hearts. Thank you so much for watching. I had a lot of fun making this video, even though it was, it took me a tad longer than planned, and the video itself is a lot longer than planned, but you know, maybe I will try and do this for Kingdom Hearts 2 or other Kingdom Hearts games one day if people seem to like it, but I'm planning on doing this kind of idea with different games, so yeah. I hope you enjoyed, and if you would like to support me, I have a Patreon which has a few things on it. If you made it this far, you are extremely appreciated. I am very, very, very happy you made it here. Yeah, I think I will keep this end a bit short, so I hope you will come back to my channel again. Goodbye.